Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. Yeah. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but mans keep walking. Yeah, just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
Tyreek Hill. For the audio audience, I am just shaking my head sadly side to side. I believe it to be the best commentary. I mean, I could yell and scream.
Nah, shaking your head is fine.
I can. I'm generally not. This is weird for a columnist and certainly someone who does this. I'm generally not raining down judgment on human beings. But why is it always you, Tyreek? Like, this league has eradicated its perception problem when it comes to some of this stuff, Stugotz. Like,
yes.
The stuff that Roger Goodell did, he had a league that was out of control. Adam Silver's got a different problem right now. Sports thriving everywhere, and all of a sudden the tide has turned against Adam Silver, where they're blaming him for things like the shot clock not working at the end of Lakers-Warriors and it taking 20 minutes to play 15 seconds. He's got a different set of problems. Roger Goodell once, and it was one of his greatest problems, I would say, had a perception problem in his league that his violent players couldn't stay violent just between the lines, and that they had domestic abuse problems and crime problems and everything else. And it's just not associated with the NFL the same way anymore. They don't get arrested at that rate or something disproportionate to the American populace anymore. And Tyreek Hill is still out here, Stugotz. And you're just waiting for what's going to be the next one. I'd never even heard of a post-nuptial agreement. That's when you don't do the prenup correctly, and then you decide afterwards, I got a lot of money and I need to do a post-nuptial one. I didn't know that was a thing. Did you know it was a thing? Did anyone here know that post-nuptial agreement was a thing?
I had no idea. I mean, it seems like if you don't agree to stuff on the front end, then there's no agreement in place.
I mean, it is something I have not. Tyreek Hill has taught
hindsight,
me. He has taught me this. Anyway, there is football to get to that's not off the field. I know Jessica's got opinions about a trade between two of her many favorite teams. I know Lucy's enraged because she doesn't like Iowa's path. And I'm genuinely torn here, Stugotz. Do you start on this Monday? Billy, let me go to Dookie here, internationally famous football insider. Do you start with Aaron Donald and Justin Fields and the Pittsburgh quarterback room, or do you start with college basketball, both tournaments, our March Sadness tournament? We generally don't care very much around here for 20 years about college basketball except to do our tournament. Where do you start today?
I would not start with Aaron Donald. He retired at the end. And then we're good. Yeah, we've checked off the Aaron Donald
He
box,
retired. He was great. 5 years from now, he'll be in Canton.
Yeah.
We're done with Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
That's it.
Really?
I mean, he's great. He's one of the all-time greats. What else?
I mean, I've got some scouting reports on him coming out of college that suggest no one knows shit about who's going to be good.
I feel like we spent a week when Nick Saban retired just doing the same thing.
I really.
It wasn't March, though.
I hate to ask Billy's opinion and then immediately reject it, but it's what I'm going to do.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm always lamenting around here. Why is it so hard to just be positive in content? Why does it have to be blame and division? How do you talk about the greatness of someone who has no precedent? This man made the Pro Bowl 10 years. Only Barry Sanders did that. Played 10 years, made it every one of his years. He did something at the position I did not think was humanly possible. He had 20 sacks in a season from the middle of your offense. Through the middle of double teams all season, had 20 sacks at that position. Revolutionized strength and speed at that position. Has no precedent as a football player, you can make a legitimate argument, given the value of what he did, getting sacks and pressure from that position, caving in your entire offensive game plan. You can make an argument for him as best defensive player ever.
You can. It's Lawrence Taylor and then Reggie White. But I understand, like, listen, he's great. 10 years, 10 Pro Bowls, 3 defensive MVPs. He's one of 3 players to do that. I believe J.J. Watt was one of the others.
Player of the year, yeah.
He's going to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer. He deserves to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer. He is not the best defensive player ever in the NFL.
Okay, that's fine. And you can argue that if you like. I would argue today, bigger, stronger, faster, always. Like Aaron Donald, we don't have to do this. It's fine. Top 5, top 10. I will tell you, Kyler Murray announced that when the retirement's announced, he just tweets, "Thank God." And Geno Smith, one of the best audio bites from last season, Aaron Donald comes in unblocked up the middle. You just hear him wired for sound shout, "Oh my God!" Like that. I don't know why you guys would just skip past that kind of greatness and be like, retired. That's it. It's done. That's the celebration he deserves. Let me go back to complaining about my bracket.
It's March. I do find it interesting, though, that he decided to retire after just 10 seasons, where guys are trying to maximize how much money they make in the NFL. He decided, I've made enough. I have a future. I don't want my body to hurt the way I see some other people's bodies hurt later in life. I do find that part interesting. He had like 5 years left in him, Dan.
I don't know, though, that his body's going to feel any better.
Okay.
What he did.
Got a better chance, I think.
Yeah, of course. Okay. But what he did for a living, totally insane.
Yes.
Being in the middle of all of that, being stronger than everybody in the middle of that particular frenzy, his body's going to be in a great deal of pain for the rest of his life, I would assume.
Yes.
As will the people he played against, because he inflicted a substantive amount of damage. We will get to the quarterback room of the Pittsburgh Steelers because the Steelers are run by Stugotz.
They have all the quarterbacks.
Just get me names. And everyone agrees. You never get this kind of consensus, Stugotz, on the following. If I just tell you Pickett, Trubisky, Rudolph, and I say Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, and cheap, consensus throughout all of sports opinion is way to go, Pittsburgh. However, there are only 2 quarterbacks who have lost that much the last 2 years. It's those 2.
Yep.
And there are only 2 quarterbacks who have a combination of 100 interceptions and sacks in the last 2 years. And it's those 2.
Right.
They were available for very good reasons. And I know we love all of us. Everyone listening to this would say, I'd take a flyer on Justin Fields. Get him on my team for nothing because I want an electrical cord in my backfield.
I think what's been underestimated the last couple months is how little leverage the Bears had once it became pretty obvious that they were going to pick Caleb Williams first overall, and also how I think like in denial a lot of Bears fans were that would be the case, because I think Bears fans really like Justin Fields and felt bad for Justin Fields and wanted them to like do good by Justin Fields. And so a lot of things kind of came together this weekend where Bears fans are mad, but also excited, but they're not happy, and they feel like they got fleeced. And Steelers fans are like, well, this is better, I guess. Sure, why not?
Well,
but what do I do with my Kenny Pickett jersey?
You're a fan of both teams. How do you feel? I'm jealous, by the way.
Yeah, I feel like the Bears shouldn't be allowed to draft quarterbacks anymore.
So to that point, because Jay Cutler is the best quarterback in Bears history, and frustrated Bears fan who learned about this drinking way too much on St. Patrick's Day.
Sid Luckman?
They 100% waited until every person in the city of Chicago was hammered on St. Patrick's Day.
I mean, the thing to me that was stunning about this, Stugotz, because I really am on Justin Fields, okay? You've heard me talk a lot about how crazy I think it is that all of these people are analyzing football and they still can't tell you how someone's going to be good. Because Aaron Donald, I'm going to read what the weaknesses were, Stugotz. This is Next Gen Stats scouting report when he came out of school.
Okay, so this is coming out of college into the NFL.
They're saying he's a special teams guy, that he's a backup. Marginal height and frame is nearly maxed out. Hands are more active than strong. Could play with more pop and power. Overpowered in the run game and ground up by double teams. Gets snared and controlled by bigger, longer blockers. Not a 2-gap player. Has some tweener traits. Lacks ideal length and bend to play outside. I just heard Mel Kiper 2 months ago tell me that Atlanta would give up their number 8. Atlanta would give up number 8 first round. Stugotz, can you play with your computer when it's quiet, please?
I forgot to turn the volume down. I'm sorry. It's March, Dan.
It happens. Yeah, it's March. This is all well and good, but I think the question is McNeese, James Madison, Grand Canyon, or UAB. Which is the 12 that's going to upset the 5? You know what I mean? That's what today's about.
Is that what today's about?
I mean, yesterday was Selection Sunday, but today's Selection Monday. You know what I mean?
How about Florida Gulf Coast and Oklahoma, though, in the women's bracket?
That's,
Lucy,
the conversation worth having, I think.
Good point, Billy. Well done. Lucy, your thoughts on I thought you were telling me that for sure that your family was in agreement that the entire bracket would be lubricated so Caitlin Clark could get the easiest possible path to wonderful things so that everyone could make tons of money and ratings. I thought this was guaranteed and assured. Have the women fallen behind the men in inability to rig a bracket correctly?
First, nothing was lubricated. Let's use a different word than that. Yesterday, I called my little brother, and we're talking about the women's bracket. Which one? How cool is that? We didn't even talk about the men's bracket. Only talked about the women's bracket. And he was like, don't worry, Lucy. Like, we knew Iowa was going to get a 1 seed. We're like, it will be the easier path because the NCAA, ESPN, everyone benefits from Caitlin Clark getting back to the Final Four. So I'm sitting there, Selection Sunday. I'm so excited. I know that there's going to be a 1 next to my Iowa Hawkeyes name. They call 1, and I'm like, yes, let's go. And they're like, also, you got Princeton. I said, ooh, okay, don't love that. And you got Drake, don't love that. And you got Colorado, hate that. And you got LSU, defending national champion that beat you last year. Okay, that's fine. Kansas State, a team that beat Iowa this year. All right, that's cool. UCLA, all in the same bracket. All in the same bracket that Caitlin Clark is in.
Death bracket for her.
Death bracket. Well, no. I believe in her. She can make it through. If Iowa wins the national championship, they deserve it. But it made me so angry. And Rebecca Lobo, a queen, said on the broadcast, Iowa deserved the 2nd seed. They were the number 2 overall seed, so they earned the 2nd easiest bracket. But they did not get that because with seeding and all this stuff and the Pac-12.
The S curve.
Oh, I hate the S curve. And when they brought the lady from the committee on, oh my God, I hate her. I don't like her at all. I feel robbed. Except for, I still have a lot of faith. I think we can win the national championship. I'm just feeling it. I'm just not feeling my best right now.
I've never seen this side of you. Have you guys seen her this kind of unhinged?
We didn't deserve this, Dan.
Listen.
We deserved easier than this.
Jessica, this is where I haven't seen this part of her. You have to understand, every time she's reporting about some latest Caitlin Clark thing, it's the most amazing feeling she's ever had. And now she's headed into a bracket of death. She's a ratings monster. That sport, like we have seen this. Look, Lucy's saying she can't believe she's talking to her brother about this. We're headed into a women's tournament that's more interesting than the men's for a lot of different reasons. Like there has been a seismic sort of sea change in the way people are enjoying the women playing basketball. And you have to get Caitlin Clark to that final. You cannot have her eliminated early. We do not want a March Sadness situation where she's getting knocked out early by a 15 seed because we got to get.
No,
They're trying to
put that out there.
Lucy, I'm sorry. They're trying to set up Iowa and LSU, and everyone wants to see that game. I want to see that game. They're trying to guarantee you see that game.
They're not doing that, though, because LSU and UCLA will meet before they would play Iowa, and most likely UCLA will beat LSU and we won't get that rematch. It all has to do with the stupid Pac-12 and their dumb seeding, and honestly, I'm kind of glad that conference is over with after this.
Well, that's
Lucy Rodine, Iowa correspondent.
Chris, you want to tell Jessica you're going to play that before you play
heads
it?
up would have been nice.
Yeah, I mean, she's right in the room with you.
That was one of my takeaways and my top 5 takeaways from the women's March Madness bracket, actually.
You have 5 of them.
I do have 5 of them.
All right, we're going to
Can we
get to those.
fanfare?
Let's get to those. Yes, let's
Chris,
get
that's me giving you a heads up.
Yes, that is what you do for your teammates. I don't want to just leave right now, though. I know she can be someone who gets emotional and hyperventilates when moved by the energies of college football. But her outraged in defense of
Women are emotional.
her queen, not Rebecca Lobo, Caitlin Clark is as excited as I've seen Lucy. You don't understand. Iowa does not get athletic echoing greatness.
Sounds like Caitlin Clark.
Have you watched
scared.
her punter? You don't know what you're talking about.
Not since Hayden Fry. You're right, Dan.
Are we scared for Caitlin Clark that she can't do it? Like, I don't understand. Isn't
I'm
she the
not.
best ever? It sounds like
Right.
we're scared.
I agree, Billy. And Lucy, you know that I love you so much.
Oh, I gotta leave.
There's more teams in women's basketball than Iowa and LSU. This is
Thank
not
you.
just for Lucy. This is
Thank
for everyone
you.
else. There are some
Thank you.
great matchups.
Let's talk about Notre Dame.
Let's, Jessica.
Thank you.
Here we go.
A 2 seed.
Jessica's
Hannah
top.
Hidalgo, know her name.
Jessica's top 5 observations from last night's most important bracket. Let's go with number 5 or OLI.
OLI, Miami, not in. What happened to our precious, beautiful blue bloods? Not in the men's or the women's tournament.
I'm going to talk to Mike Ryan about this tomorrow, but Mike Ryan believes that the men's basketball team simply quit. He's made that allegation
Really?
privately, so we'll see if that is something he's willing to do publicly, even though I just did it for him. Also, OLI.
No, we're on 5 now.
Okay.
Okay. Southern Cal and South Carolina could play 1 seed versus 1 seed in the national championship. The battle for who gets to be USC.
Wow. Couple of USCs cutting it up.
That's number 5.
A lot on the line for Southern Cal.
That is that, and I think we'd be willing to do that conclusively, would we not?
I'm for it.
Are you willing to give the USC to the winner of South Carolina, Southern California?
Number 4, the Pac-12. Really good women's basketball conference. Shame we blew that
Your timing's not working very well, Jessica, with Chris Cody. Let's
up. We're
get
not on
Chris
the same
Cody
page
in line.
today. We'll get there.
Number 3.
Nebraska and Texas A&M playing against each other in the men's and the women's bracket after Nebraska's athletic director was just hired by Texas A&M. The battle of the college admins.
Wow.
Good bit, Dan.
Did
Thank
you just shake me off? Did you just?
You were a catcher giving me
you
signals.
shook
I'm the pitcher.
me off. You shook me off.
Slower's better.
I wanted you to clip her.
Slow
her.
report.
And you decided to wait that time.
He wanted a different pitch.
It worked,
He
honestly.
shook me off. Number 2.
UConn is not. UConn is going to Portland. They're not playing in their home region, which they always get to play home games in Stores and then Albany or wherever in like the East Coast. But no, they're shipping them out west. UConn playing out west. Crazy.
And number 1.
The Columbia women's basketball team, first time they're going dancing. We have a video of them reacting. It was so fun to watch. Lucy and I were both emotional watching this clip.
There's a guy just sitting on the floor.
This is one of those videos where you watch it a few times and focus on one person, and they're all freaking out.
What about the guy who got trampled on the floor sobbing? What about that? What happened
He's
to
one
him?
of my faves. If we could do a top 5 favorite reaction. No, I'm just kidding. They're crying. Dan, it's the most wonderful time of the year other than bowl season.
We will do some testing of Stugotz here over the next 3.5 hours. He is a proud fraud this time of year. We will have Seth
All
Davis.
times of year.
Seth Davis is going to join us. He knows what he's talking about, and we will see. Okay. Well, all right. We'll do that. We have a lot of fun to make of Amin as well because the internet got a hold of him in a jump shot that echoes in sadness in a way that will allow us to mock him all show today. But I simply wanted to circle back on what it is we were talking about before on Justin Fields because Stugotz, I don't know that I have had an example, even understanding that football has gotten very sophisticated on how they can measure everything. It happened kind of fast, and it happened at quarterback as well in a way that changes the finances at running back. And I just haven't seen a lot of quarterbacks like Justin Fields ever. And I'm confused that Lamar Jackson seems to have redefined the position when some executives in the league, his executive, like Peyton Manning, MVP executive, once told you that couldn't play quarterback. And now I'm watching, and I watch. The Bears are erratic. You cannot turn the ball over anymore, Stugotz. Like, that's not what quarterbacks do anymore. You're not allowed to do it. You can't be reckless. So this is one of the best running quarterbacks we've ever seen.
No doubt.
Runs past secondaries. Obviously has a skill level talent. Accuracy not quite as strong as some others, but has a skill level arm talent that made the Bears trade up for first round picks, second round picks because they wanted to get to number 11 because they wanted 3 years of this guy, where they win nothing. And now I'm confused because I'm looking at it and I'm like, wait a minute. Not only did Justin Fields just become a backup, that just happened, but the trade market seems to indicate that nobody could use that. Now, I don't trust Atlanta, Stugotz, because Atlanta told me they didn't need Lamar Jackson.
Right.
So now they say Kirk Cousins is the answer, but I can't separate what I just saw in Minnesota. I thought that was Justin Jefferson. I thought that whatever happened with Kirk Cousins was made a lot easier by Justin Jefferson, but now Atlanta's telling me they didn't need Lamar Jackson at all. What they need is Kirk Cousins, someone who looks and plays like Kirk Cousins. And I'm like, the position, is it changing or is it not? Is it going to be allowed to change or is it not? And my evaluation gets confused, Stugotz, when Mel Kiper was saying on television 2 months ago that Atlanta would give up an 8 for Justin Fields. And then they tell us, no, it's going to be easier to trade for Kenny Pickett. It's going to cost you more to trade for Kenny Pickett than it is for Justin Fields. And I'm like, I can't evaluate this position anymore because I think Justin Fields can play quarterback as a starter in this league.
I honestly think that it came down to everyone knowing that the Bears were going to get rid of him. And so, like, a bunch of teams called their bluff. They knew they were going to get desperate and end up giving him away for way less than they wanted a couple months ago. And that's all it came down. I don't think the market's telling you Kenny Pickett's a better backup quarterback than Justin Fields.
But the market did dry up on Justin Fields. Dan is right. Like, the Bears went into this thinking
because you were asking a lot, and everyone knew eventually you're just going to get rid of him for whatever you get.
But does the audience have the same reaction? Like, I'm copping to here, something that it's uncomfortable to cop to, because very often in this business, we like to think we know, and some of the loudest among us act like we know when we really don't know, when we don't know anything. But in this particular case, I've been following how the market tracks on business at the position. We all have been, right? Because we're now obsessed with the finances of this. So how much guaranteed money did this person? What do you mean? The Titans with A.J. Brown refused 4 years, $100 million, and now they're giving Calvin Ridley 4 year, $92 million. Like,
makes no sense.
Okay, like what
but
is
a lot of that, too, is like they thought they didn't need to do it, and then they realized they messed up, and now they're overcorrecting and paying someone that you shouldn't. Like, the Falcons, I would think, thought, you know what, we don't have to give Lamar all that money. Maybe Desmond Ridder works out. And then he didn't work out, and now they're like, okay, now we messed up with Lamar. We need to go get a quarterback. And now they're paying Kirk Cousins way more than they should be paying Kirk Cousins because they already missed last year on Lamar Jackson.
We're talking about the most important position in all of sports. Why wouldn't the Bears just hold on to 2 quarterbacks? Like, why? Then wait.
That's financial.
No.
That's
no,
financial.
but then you wait until the season starts and all the quarterbacks start getting hurt, and then you trade him when someone really has a need for a quarterback.
You can't draft Caleb Williams and have Justin Fields sitting there on the sideline.
I just don't understand why that's the case. Why is that the case? It's the most important position where we saw last year how often they get hurt, quarterbacks. I just don't understand. Like a 6th round pick, I'd rather have a good backup quarterback than get a 6th round pick.
Yeah, but you're drafting Caleb Williams. Justin Fields.
You don't even know he'll be good.
I know, but when he's not good, the fans are going to start chanting for. You're creating a quarterback controversy that's not there if you keep Justin Fields and draft Caleb Williams.
I think Chris has a point, though. Like, it does seem like it would have made more sense at this point, when all of these teams have probably passed since around the end of the season to the combine, et cetera, to wait at least until maybe the draft, at least till training camp. But I think the Bears front office didn't want to have the situation that Stugotz is describing, where you now have 2 guys that you've got, picked up in the first round on the same team, which seems like a little ridiculous. I don't know.
It's so great.
Probably could have gotten more out from a desperate team later on.
It's so great. It's a great way to lead. Fear the chance.
That's what I'm saying. Don't you sit Justin Fields down and say, hey, we're only getting offered a 6th round pick. You're owed more.
Stugotz, you tell me if you believe that my analysis here, because a lot of analysis that comes in the sports information field comes from people who do not see their blind spots, okay? When I tell you that I believe the audience is connecting here with me, not for reasons of self-involvement, but I believe that the audience is doing, we don't get consensus in sports about anything.
Right.
I think the audience is like, why was Justin Fields that cheap? Why is he allowed to go to Pittsburgh and be the backup? Why doesn't every team in the league want something like that as possible hope? And hey, if my quarterback gets hurt, it'd be pretty nice to see Justin Fields back there. And I'm taking a one-year flyer on him because I think the audience thinks like me. Hey, he showed me enough flashes that I don't think Zach Wilson can play. I'm not sure about Bryce Young. We've sped it up on all these guys. You got 3 years, figure it out or get out. 3 years, hurry up. Like, your value or you're not, get out. Like, I'm sitting there for 3 years on Tua, Stugotz.
Yeah.
For 3 years, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Do you pay it $50 million if you need to keep that guy whose house catches fire and whose personal life is, raging outside of your huddle and those are your two top paid guys. You're building around one who a year ago we were worried about his head, and the other one we're worried about his head.
It seems like you're asking Fields and Russell Wilson at $4.5 million or Tua at 55.
I'm not. I saw you doing that last week with the Golix. It enraged me that you're just going to this cheap sports radio trick, just this old hit of yours, which Russell. You want this is the part I think the audience is connecting with me on. I think we're all looking at Justin Fields and being like, well, if quarterback is hope and I can put someone on the field who's a better athlete than everyone else, I'd like that on my team as a second option. Chicago doesn't need that when all they've ever had at quarterback is Jay Cutler. That's the best they've ever done. So I'd understand Chicago would be pissed off today because they know what a quarterback doesn't look like for many, many years. And Justin Fields occasionally looked like he could be someone who could be their quarterback.
Yeah, but Chicago cannot get upset. They have the number 1 overall pick in the draft. They have what everyone says is a generational quarterback in Caleb Williams. Like, they have to get that right. You don't want Justin Fields sitting around there. I actually like what the Bears did. They probably thought the market was better for Justin Fields. Clearly it was not.
But you can't like what the Bears did from this perspective, Stugotz. The trade can't be, if you're the Chicago Bears, we're going to trade a 1, a 1, and a 2 to get up to number 11 to get Justin Fields. And then 3 years later, we're going to trade him for a 6 and have nothing to show for it. That's bad management. Like, that's bad management 101. That's not the way to do it in a salary cap sport. You have to figure out in those 3 years whether your trade has value and you are traded a depreciated asset that depreciated only because you stink at your job.
Dan, they did figure it out. With Justin Fields as their quarterback, they have the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. I mean, they haven't been good with Justin Fields. So
it's Carolina's pick, but
I understand, but they move on to a generational quarterback in Caleb Williams, and you don't keep Justin Fields around. And from the Steelers standpoint,
no, you get more for him. It's not that you don't keep him around. You have to get more for him.
But Dan, clearly they couldn't get more. You're acting like this is, you have 1 year of upside with Justin Fields, and then you have to figure out, do I have to pay him? What do I have to pay him? So you have 1 year to get it done with Justin Fields.
Is he a starting quarterback, yes or no?
I don't know.
Really?
I don't know.
I don't believe the audience thinks that. I don't believe that the audience saw him play, even though they lost, saw those throws to DJ Moore. You're bringing in Keenan Allen now.
Well, they're getting all the pieces that they didn't get for him now, right? So you don't really know what he is because he didn't have all of the weapons that Caleb Williams going to walk into the NFL having. But you also don't know that Caleb Williams is going to be the answer and that he's going to be the generational quarterback that you hope he is, right? But you also told everyone you're going to take him. So now everybody knows you don't need Justin Fields anymore, so you're going to get rid of him, which is why there wasn't a market for him because, like, to what Jess was saying before, at some point they're going to have to cut bait with him,
but that's
which
not
is why
doing
it's
it
just
well.
a 6.
They
did this to themselves. They did this to themselves.
We're talking about the Chicago Bears.
They completely did this to themselves. And, like, even in Chris's hypothetical, right, which is, well, why don't you just keep both of them? You don't want to have that quarterback controversy. But also, like, you can't get much worse for him than a 6th rounder. So, like, what's the point of settling now for a 6th rounder? Because, like, during the season, if someone needs a quarterback, they're going to know, all I need is a 6th rounder for him. But you don't want to have the headache of having 2 quarterbacks, which now Pittsburgh kind of is going to have because they have kind of Russ, but they have him for 1 year. And then what are you going to do with Justin Fields? Is he the next guy? I don't know.
Yeah, but it's 2 cheap quarterbacks, both with something to prove. One has upside. Like, it's a great job by Mike Tomlin. To go from the quarterback room that he had last year to the quarterback room he has today,
no, it's a much better
fantastic.
quarterback room. Yeah.
Okay, and this is the take that everyone has today, and I am suspicious of the take that everyone agrees on because no one will disagree with Trubisky's out and Pickett's out and all those 3-yard passes when I know Pickens can play and I know that Harris is a good running back. They have some skill talent. I'm looking at their defense. It's elite. And so can they make a leap when it's not Mason Rudolph? And all of us are in agreement. All of us.
No.
Someone disagrees?
I tweeted this the other day, but they hired Arthur Smith as their offensive coordinator. I can't remember him playing with a quarterback like Russell Wilson or really like Justin Fields. I don't know what their offense is even going to look like, but I do think Justin Fields is interesting because you have your run game that the Steelers have established pretty well the last couple of years with Jalen Warren and Najee Harris. The offensive line's been playing a lot better, and they're probably going to get more pieces in the draft. And you have a quarterback like Justin Fields who's just like insanely creative and fast and athletic when he's playing his best. And the Bears, I don't think really understood how to use him, and the instability there was terrible, and the pieces around him were bad, and the offensive line was making him run for his life at times. So I'm interested by it, but I don't know if it's going to work, Dan. I really don't know if it's going to work. I know it'll probably be more interesting than what I watched last year, which was just 1 touchdown every 6 games.
But that's part of the trade that's being made here. Everyone's looking at it. Well, it'll be more interesting. Like, we're all agreeing with that part. It'll be
I'm
more
not saying
interesting.
it's for sure going to be good. I think a lot of people think like, oh, it'll be better. I don't know for sure. We'll find out.
Hot take, Russell Wilson was not happy about this. He went out publicly and was like, I'm supportive of this. I'm excited. Let's steal or whatever he said, right?
Yeah,
I think privately he let out a dang it like no one's business. Like he was upset about this situation.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju. Did Russell Wilson let out a dang it like
Privately,
nobody
privately.
like nobody?
Privately, yes.
Can I finish, please? Like
Okay.
nobody's business. And I'm gonna have to reprimand Jessica here, who, and I don't know for sure. We'll find out. Is the title of the world's lamest podcast.
Isn't that like David Sampson's whole thing,
Wait to
though?
see.
I mean, I
mock him too. Oh my God, it's awful. Wait to see is one of the worst slogans in the history of words slung together.
In sports radio,
It's
for
terrible.
sure. We don't wait and see.
Wait to see is one of the lamest catchphrases anyone has ever had. But I don't know for sure. We'll find out is actually fair commentary. But everywhere else around, I don't know for sure. We'll find out. Everyone has a very strong opinion. And a whole lot of people aren't saying, Arthur Smith, that's confusing. But let's look at this for a second, just for a second. That is a very stable franchise. Mike Tomlin has done winning. None of us can totally understand, and yet might be on the hot seat because it's not about getting to the playoffs or even winning seasons. Can't be 9-7, 10-7,
Losing the first round.
Losing the
every
first
year.
round,
Right.
and we know Pickett. That quarterback room's not good enough. We all can see. You can't play like that and win. You might surprise us, but you can't keep having winning seasons that aren't a bit of a mirage.
Billy, I'm wondering, did Jalen Hurts do the same thing when he found out that Kenny Pickett was coming to the Eagles? Like,
No, you're missing the part of the joke. It's the darn it. It's the
Dang it,
the dang
Privately.
it. Privately.
But Jalen wasn't happy. I'm reporting that.
I want to examine that this is a black coaching
Why are you
staff.
reporting that?
Upside Pickett. I mean, you don't want Pickett hanging
don't
around your
believe
team.
that.
I just think some of this commentary is just so lame, Stugotz. We're afraid of a chant and quarterback controversy in this sport. That's what leadership is. I can't have 2 quarterbacks. I'm afraid of a chanting fan base. I'm a total coward. I'm Mike Tomlin. I'm scared. I have to be scared. I don't blink. I'm talking every week about we just need to get out of the stadium alive. I'm afraid that my fans are going to chant something.
It's why it's the perfect landing spot. Tomlin doesn't care if the fans chant for Fields. Mike Tomlin's going to do what Mike Tomlin wants to do.
I'm simply telling you when it comes to the analysis, Stugotz, of that position, and me hearing consensus of everyone thinks the Steelers did the right thing. And the meekest you can say is, I don't know, it might not work out, but it seems like a better quarterback room, obviously. And I want to just go back to the beginning of what we were saying. How is it that we don't know how to evaluate the position better than this? That the league can't assign values to these people that aren't this confusing? Because you've already wiped out the running back market, and I think that position's about to change. Like we saw Lamar Jackson without an agent, Stugotz. Atlanta did not want him. He's the MVP of the league. Deshaun Watson is a disaster. He's 25% of their salary cap, and because they're cowards, they won't bring back Flacco because they don't want the chanting.
Well, they got Jameis, though, so they want they're inviting the chanting. When you bring in Jameis, you're
not inviting the same kind of chant.
There's never been a Jameis chant.
Not the same chant.
I chant it every Sunday.
I can't believe Cleveland got rid of Flacco, and they're like, it didn't fit.
I feel like what's hard, though, is that the evaluation includes every team's individual situation as well as the quarterback's deal and how much time is left on it and how much money they have. And those things are individualized to each team. So it is hard to compare and contrast apples to apples, what every team wants and what every team can get out of a franchise. And that's how the Bears end up in this position where they know that they want to get rid of Justin Fields. They don't want to have 2 first-round pick quarterbacks in the locker room come draft night. And so everyone else knows they're going to do that, and they've got to dump him off where they can find they have said, and I don't know if this is true, but they have said they wanted to put him in a good position, and they don't want him to go to a team where there's already a starting quarterback like, for example, the Eagles, where Jalen Hurts is obviously the starter there, and B, somewhere that is going to give them something, and so they got a conditional 6th-round pick out of it.
Dan, just so we're clear, are you surprised teams like the Cowboys didn't go after Justin Fields? Like if Dak gets hurt, doesn't work out?
They have Trey Lance.
Stugotz, it's not surprise. This is what I'm just saying to you again and again. Trey Lance, thank you for mentioning him, okay? The 2021 draft now. You told me Zach Wilson was good at quarterback. Trey Lance, good at quarterback. Mac Jones, good at quarterback. Justin Fields, good at quarterback.
Do we know Trey Lance is good at quarterback?
No, I'm saying that the 2021 draft, look at what it did at quarterback. Nobody knows. Nobody knows anything. Like nobody. You told me all those quarterbacks were good.
Now, in fairness, Jess said, we'll see how this plays
yes,
out. Back
that's the only. It's the only
her.
right take. I don't know for sure. We'll find out.
The Chiefs know something.
Here's another place, Stugotz,
Yeah.
that this football evaluation shit gets confusing at this position. I know Justin Herbert's good. I know it.
Do you?
I know Justin Herbert is good. Huh. I've been watching football all my life.
Right.
I know he can play that position. Now you're going to tell me the Chargers have been so mismanaged for a couple of years that they make me not only doubt whether he's good, but now Mike Williams you get rid of. And Keenan Allen you get rid of. And I read a report the other day that right before that where they're like, Chargers have to make a decision between Keenan Allen, Khalil Mack, Bosa, and they already got rid of Eckler. I'm like, oh, okay, that window closed. That offense was going to be good for a long time. They burned up those bodies, burned up those expenses. The only reason you wouldn't get Keenan Allen is because you're afraid of all the mileage the Chargers have used on him.
Right. But now the Bears have him. And I'll tell you this, Dan, the Bears, if they draft a wide receiver at 9 with Caleb Williams, with that defense, with what they already have, I am telling you, watch out for the Bears. I'm telling you, NFC Championship game.
There it is.
It's the Bears.
There it is.
I'm sorry.
I'm not going to wait and see. The Bears are going to be good.
There it is.
The Bears are the Bears.
There it is.
Yeah. Different Bears. I mean, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, plus you draft a wide receiver at 9. Great defense. Hopefully the quarterback is great.
It's just going to be 10 wide receivers and Caleb Williams.
I was having this conversation with a Bears fan over the weekend, and they were like, well, at least it seems like the Bears have a plan. Yeah. And I was like,
they do.
Does it seem that way? Because I remember when the season ended, they waited to do their end of season interviews because no one was sure who they were going to fire yet for a few days. Maybe I'm misremembering, but if I recall, they were not sure if they were going to keep Getsy and Eberflus or keep Eberflus and get rid of Getsy, which is what they ended up doing. And there was a lot of confusion for a few days, not to mention all of the show happening the rest of the season with coaches being dismissed for all these sorts of issues that we haven't even really found out what that was yet. Just a weird dysfunctional football team and not one that I would want to be drafted to.
I heard something over the weekend, Stugotz. She just made me think of this when she talked about coaching turnover, that only in the 1 out of 5 coaches in football are still with their college team since 2019. You don't last, college football is now just sort of churning through these coaches very quickly because we've sped up, right? The economies around both NIL and the quarterback positions where you're going to have to be able to do your job faster because
Yes.
Because now if I lock in costs at the quarterback position and I show you the greatest advantage in the sport is that you have the ability to build the rest of your team because your quarterback's cheap.
Right.
And you figure it out early and you don't have to pay him for a few years and you can pay Deebo Samuel and you can pay Kittle and you can pay, how do they have all those players? How does Russell Wilson play on a team that falls apart as a champion the moment they couldn't pay all the defensive players? But salary cap is greater than it's ever been. We're more interested in the finances of all of this than we ever have been. And the Chargers just blew the early Justin Herbert window. Because it's not
the early window.
It's not that easy
Wow.
to get. It's not that easy to get Keenan Allen.
But they still have hope for the late window. I mean,
they do.
At least we know Jim Harbaugh is taking this move very seriously because he had a garage sale over the weekend.
really?
Yes. Saw some pictures. Look, that's a garage sale I would go to. Yeah. He had so many snow globes. We counted what, Billy?
At least 17. In this one picture, there's 17 snow globes.
Okay, is Jim Harbaugh indeed living in an RV outside of the facility all summer because he doesn't want to buy a home? Is that a true thing? Because he said it. I heard him say it, but I did not know whether indeed he had gone through with it. And now you're telling me he's trying to sell a bunch of items?
And it looks like a bunch of good stuff. I see a lava lamp in there. Like there's some quality stuff here. Yeah. Billy pointed out earlier there's like a prom, like wedding sort of
It's
dress
not. I
there.
don't think it's Mrs. Harbaugh's wedding dress, but there is a very elegant looking white dress with like, I don't want to say lace, but like this is a very formal dress that I doubt that Mrs. Harbaugh is selling the wedding dress, but it's possible.
Dan, you know what? I'm happy because for years, Bud Grant did garage sales. He did it every single year. And we, fell in love with Bud Grant, and he was fantastic. And if there's a coach to kind of take the torch from Bud Grant, who passed away, to do a garage sale on an annual basis, it is Jim
I would
Harbaugh.
love to rekindle our relationship with all of the crazy Harbaughs now that he has fled with maximum grace from the burning fires of cheating scandal to national championship to Kingmaker, who will reinvent Justin Herbert and is giving all the quotes about being awed by being in the presence of this Thor-like creature at quarterback who's a stallion, who's J.J. McCarthy on steroids. He's
another stallion.
A flowing hair of Wolverine. And he will build around that. But does he indeed live still in the RV? Do we know this?
I mean, I could see him parking an RV outside of his mansion and staying in the RV there. I don't think that you're gonna find Jim Harbaugh at a campsite.
He's stealing Baker Mayfield's bit. Didn't Baker Mayfield do this in Cleveland, or was it Gardner Minshew?
It was Gardner Minshew. Yeah, it was Minshew.
I feel like I remember an episode of Hard Knocks with a quarterback in an RV.
No, there was a Dolphin player. I don't remember who it was.
It's been
Was
done.
it Seiler?
Yes.
Get a new bit. Get your own bit.
I have a friend that lives in a van. It's not accurate to what it sounds. His van is nicer than my apartment.
What?
Yeah, he was like, I don't want to pay rent anymore, so he spent a crap ton of money renovating like a van into a nice apartment, and he lives in San Diego, so he just parks and sleeps at the beach every night.
John Oliver did a bit enraged me with jealousy recently.
That's a man who's never been camping.
Put it on the poll, please, at LeBatard Show. Fair to assess that John Oliver has never been camping. John Oliver offered, and I think it's probably expired by now, Clarence Thomas, Supreme Court Justice, who loves to just be corrupt, and is great at it, and now terrible at it because he's getting caught like he was just being bought by billionaires.
It's fun, Dan.
He loves, scamming is fun. I know, Stugotz. Even when democracy's at stake. I know. Scamming's fun. Even,
right up until it isn't.
It's all great fun until a Supreme Court justice is obviously corrupt but loves traveling the world in fancy RVs. John Oliver has offered him a $2-point-something million RV in exchange for him just resigning his seat on the Supreme Court. And it's funny, and it's legal, and it's amazing. And I believe that if that RV is indeed what Lucy is saying it might be, that we might have the J.J. Watt cabin of falsehoods again, where this isn't an RV the way you think of an RV. This is a $2 million rolling home of fire that parties at every disco that Jim Harbaugh would go around to listen, the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
This is how I imagine the tent you said you're staying in Africa. Like, it's not really like
tent,
a camping
right.
tent.
It's a
you know?
5-star tent. I mean,
regardless, I still think it's interesting. But Stugotz brought up something with the late Bud Grant, and we do need to pass this along.
yes.
One of the most uncomfortable moments in show history. I don't know how we were able to wrestle this away from ESPN. I don't know why they wouldn't have wanted this sound forever for their Disney archives. But it's when Stugotz asked Bud Grant at like the 7th one of these garage sales that we had covered.
Right.
Stugotz, you guys don't know this story. Lucy and Jessica aren't going to know this story. Okay. Oh, great. I'm going to have to explain this now.
Prepare to be horrified.
Yeah, I mean.
And if my memory serves me right, you actually try to ask,
Yes.
and then he has to follow up, and then Stugotz comes in.
Dan was embarrassed to ask. I had to
right.
just ask the question.
Let me set it
Better
up.
or worse than Vince Wilfork?
I think this might be. So
More uncomfortable.
Here, let's see. We'll leave it up to the perusal of the ladies to see if they're as horrified by this as I think they're going to be when I have to explain this to them. Because you guys are like, it'll be easy. But there was a reason I didn't want to ask Bud Grant this question. He's the legendary Vikings coach. And we, for some reason, have stumbled upon the idea that when it comes to men and wiping, we have discovered, to our shock, sitters have discovered that standards exist, and standards have discovered that sitters exist while wiping.
Yeah.
And so we asked the question of the legendary Vikings coach while at a garage sale. But I was too scared to ask it because he's a legendary tough guy, and Stugotz just barreled in.
And in our defense, we asked a lot of people this question that week.
Yeah.
Just an awkward and delicate question here that we've been talking about all day, and I understand it's probably not appropriate, but I am curious, and we've been doing it with all our guests here. When going to the bathroom, Bud Grant, and finishing with his bathroom experience, the wiping experience, sitting or standing?
Repeat that. I didn't get the
please
gist
don't
of that.
make me repeat that.
You want me to try?
Yeah, you try
Okay.
it.
Bud, when after you have dinner tonight and you celebrate the garage sale, when you go to the bathroom afterwards, not one but two, Bud, will you sit or stand when you wipe?
Well, that depends on the consistency of what I'm doing.
Thank you, Bud.
Why was he so honest?
Well thought out answer.
Weird Disney didn't want that.
I miss Bud.
We need a new garage sale person. We need to find. I want to get into some things, Stugotz. I just learned the other day that the Sopranos boat that you're named after, the Stugotz, is for sale. Like, it's available. I want to start doing some of these things that we dreamed of 3 years ago.
You want to buy me a boat?
I want to. Well, I want the Stugotz to be. I want to have ideas that involve going and doing a live remote from Bud Grant's garage sale because we've made a deal with Jim Harbaugh to cover the Chargers next season and sponsor the area outside his RV. I'd like to do some more creative things there. Can you help me with this?
Absolutely. I would love, because we had Jim Harbaugh on the show. It turned into a weekly thing, and then it quickly went away.
It wasn't a weekly thing. It was Jim Harbaugh was on once and then
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It looked like it was going to be a weekly thing, like we had a good relationship with Harbs. But I'm telling you, Jim Harbaugh would rather you cover his garage sale than cover his football team. And so, Dan, if we went out there and made the effort, if this is an annual thing.
Well, we should send Lucy.
Okay, fine.
We should send Lucy. We should do that immediately.
Yes, he would appreciate it, and we would get him back in our good graces.
We should buy some things from him there. We should
Yes.
do a report from there.
Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely over. Garage sale is usually like a one-day thing, but I love the idea you guys have.
So we
going
missed
there.
it. So we got scooped on it.
Reddit got it first. What are you gonna do?
Bud's was a weekend event. It was. And he did it every single year.
His was annual, but he took donations and he
Right.
had lots of memorabilia and stuff like that. It was a whole thing in the community up there. By the way, if you want to buy this boat, Dan, we could do that today, but it's $300,000. So
I'd like to know more about the boat, the Stugotz.
it's $300,000. I think that's where can I just say, I don't decide this. Don't buy this boat.
Why not?
It's $300,000. Don't buy this boat.
Stugotz, I have a couple of things for the take machine. I have a couple of hot takes here in sports.
I like a take machine.
I don't do this very often,
take
but I'm
machine.
going to send some takes into the universe now. Are you excited? Because
Oh my God.
I want to build this up a little bit because I don't often do this. I've tried to be sort of takeless in a take full time. I'm not aggressively takey, but I think I have some thoughts here that will sort of be sports echoing. One, no player in the history of South Florida or the Miami Heat franchise has done more in the way of improving as an athlete from what we saw at the beginning to what he has become than Duncan Robinson, who has changed the sport, the way the sport works, where they're spacing in threes.
Duncan Robinson changing the sport
The three,
is a take.
The three has
yes.
changed the sport. This is
Way
how
worse than my
improving.
Arthur Smith take.
this is how I'm finishing the take.
Okay.
I'm rusty because I don't have practice at this, but no player ever has gotten to 1,000 threes faster than Duncan Robinson. And that is emblematic of everywhere the sport has gone recently, Stugotz, where now you have an officiating problem. You're trying to keep scores down. Adam Silver is drowning under not as popular as he used to be. What's wrong with your league? Everyone else in sports is thriving. Why are you not thriving? Why have you gone from most popular commissioner, guy who replaced Stern effortlessly, most progressive league, to, you don't know how exactly to have your media trained to birth the future stars that we need to be obsessing about because Steph and LeBron's time is done. That's the end of what that brought the league. It did for the league in some ways what Bird and Magic did for the league. Keep it with stars. Stars are important. But if you're not selling tomorrow's stars, because we're still talking about the Suns like they've got a chance.
If you're not selling Duncan Robinson,
Duncan Robinson, faster to 1,000 threes than anybody.
Well, what are you saying there?
Duncan Robinson has improved more than any Heat player ever, right in front of your eyes.
Really?
Yes.
So no one. That's a great take.
I mean,
because I've never really
you're not going to be able to dispute it.
Well, I've never measured improvement.
I'm watching it though. What if you're talking? Look, man, Stugotz, if you're following basketball at all, Boston's totally overwhelming. They're beating everybody by double digits. In the history of the league, Stugotz, 5 times have all 5 players had 3 or more threes in the history of the league.
Yeah.
Boston's done it twice in 2024. They're dragging everybody by double digits. They're a lot better than everybody.
And here's to you, Duncan Robinson. We all love how much your game has grown. Whoa. You're hitting threes, Duncan Robinson. Got an addition to our big O. That's Orlando in Toronto.
So this is my other take. This is how much basketball has changed. That if it were 1984, Zach Edey would be taken ahead of Michael Jordan in the draft. Just a big slab of skin, a big block of meat.
Slab.
You've gone too far.
No, I have not gone too far. That's the take. In 1984, basketball would have drafted Zach Edey before Michael Jordan.
Great take. Absolutely phenomenal take. Dan, maybe your best work.
Thank you, Lucy.
I'm trying to build out this hot take machine that you were talking about, and the way that I envision it now, and I don't know that we're going to be able to do this, Dan, so I don't want to get your hopes up. I imagine it being like, remember how David Letterman used to throw things off the roof of the building into an alley? So I was thinking that we can launch things off of this building, but we shouldn't do that because it's also copying him. So I'm thinking maybe we find good things for the ocean, like fish food or something, and we just shoot it out of a cannon into the ocean. So then we have someone over there across the street at the bay, and then you give the hot take, whatever it is, and then that person calibrates it on what they think that take is. And if it's a great take, that thing's going 1,000 feet. If it's bad, it goes 3 feet.
I think it should be one a day, that I have to come in and have one a day, a take like that one where you're demanding that I get sharper in the changing industry and sharpen up my take game that's very rusty.
The Blazers took Zach Edey before Michael Jordan. It was Sam Bowie. How'd that work out?
This is double the slab of meat. This is all skin. Look, man, look, Edey. Look, you made my life worse. You in Wisconsin made my life worse. All of you just getting in the way of everybody. Playing basketball by just getting in the way. Zach Edey just plants himself like a tree. I haven't seen a body like that since Yao Ming's. And his ankles are bigger than anyone's thighs. And we're distorting the sport. Have you seen Wembanyama? Like, he just stands over these 6'10" people who are bigger than anyone you've ever seen and just places the ball over them in the basket.
Are you saying Zach Edey is going to be better than Michael Jordan?
No, he's going to be terrible.
That would be a take.
He can't move.
That would be a take.
I can't have that take.
That one go far out there, Dan.
I love the way your brain works, Billy.
It's so unesthetically pleasing. Zach Edey is a plague. I'm sorry. Purdue, you're a plague. You're a plague.
Boilermakers.
The Boilermakers.
Billy, what's going on with our March Sadness tournament?
That's a good question, Dan. A lot. Oh, man. So today, I guess, is Selection Monday. Yesterday was Selection Sunday. And our committee met, and we ranked some teams. And we have some that we'd like to preview for you now.
Well, but wait.
Yes.
Have we announced to the audience that we're not doing this the way we usually do it? Have we told anybody that the March Sadness tournament is going to be a totally different thing this year? You're just jumping right in with what the controversies are.
I was hoping no one would notice that we just kind of changed the format entirely.
What happened with the Looks Like tournament?
Well, we had some meetings and decisions were made. And granted, I will tell you this. This may not be the most popular move we've ever had, but sometimes real leadership accepts the criticism and says, you know what, this is a direction that we're headed in, and I believe that this is going to be a good direction for the show. Because if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, the Looks Like the past couple seasons, I think that we can all admit, Dan, and we can cop to this and tell our audience and be honest with them, they weren't as good as they've been in the past, the last 2 seasons. Part of it has to do with the fact that, we don't talk to Tim Kirkchin anymore, so we didn't have as large a bank to choose from as we did in the past. A lot of them were getting repetitive, and that's kind of what we used to do. So we wanted this year, March Sadness, to have some changes. We wanted it to reflect more what we're doing now, because the Looks Like, on top of everything else, was very audio. It was geared towards the podcast, which is what we were, which is what we did. We were on ESPN, but it was a podcast. So it was more of an audio, tournament where you'd have the voice come out and do it. Now we have the TV presence, the DraftKings Network. We have the YouTube. We're doing a lot of stuff on video. So we thought someone just reading a sounder isn't great for video. So we have all of these great video clips that we wanted to do. We wanted to highlight what it is that the show's doing now. We brought the songs back. The club is back. We have all of the punishments.
But wait. This is a lot of information. Billy, slow down.
Yeah, I'm trying to bury a lot of stuff here.
Slow down.
Say it with a positive spin.
Okay.
I'm trying to tell people I'm excited about this.
Okay. It can be positive, and in your role as rising Meadowlark executive, what you're saying is that you're trying
the committee
to build our tournament into something different. That's going to be met with some resistance, but you're doing it in the name of our standard. You believe, because if we're burying this thing, I need people to understand, Mike Schur and Adam McKay, comedy writers, haven't been able to get in the tournament because these have been so good. They fill up every March. My email fills up with them trying to get into the tournament. So we've got plenty of good that comedy writers can't even get in on, and you're saying we're burying it now because it lived beneath your standards the last 2 years.
The committee. But I also want to say
it ran its course. That's what he said.
It's not that. It's just, we want to do more video things. We want to change things. We want to highlight what it is that we've been doing. You've been very excited. Not you, I mean the show in general, but the costumes have been a big thing. We have new regions, Dan. We have different regions that we're going to introduce. We have different, teams that have been selected to said region. So we want to try this, see how it goes. And if you guys don't like it, then maybe, in like 3 days, then we have a frantic, everybody freaking out, and then it becomes a Looks Like tournament again, which I'm hoping is not the case.
No, let's not lead that way. Let's not lead the way. Okay. Look, I really don't like that we just skip past the fact
committee
that Stugotz is making the claim that tough guy leaders in the NFL should be influenced by chanting fans saying they want a different quarterback. I don't want to move too far from the stupidity of that.
I also want to point out, which I didn't get to before in setting up the tournament, is that there's also a very big change in the tournament in that you guys our beloved fans who we love so much, and we can't do anything without any of you.
Okay, no, but this part, wait a minute.
I can't sit or stand after I go to the bathroom without you guys.
I've been in the meetings. This is meant to be interactive. We are going to now celebrate March Madness in a different way we ever have because you're going to be doing this with the show, correct?
Yeah, what?
They're going to be voting on stuff.
Yeah, you get to vote. You get to decide. So we're going to put out the matchups, and instead of us, attaching someone to Gonzaga and the Zags go on a run, and then we have, some random team in there at the Final Four. No. You guys get to decide. If we have bad submissions that make it all the way to the championship, you guys are to blame for that. You guys can put a 16 seed there if you really want to. You can vote for whoever you like, and that person will advance on to the next region. So the fans will be in control of who is there at the end voting for these tournaments and the championship.
So what are the 4 regions, Billy?
Okay, that's a great question, Chris. So the first region, as I kind of mentioned, we're going to be highlighting some songs. We're going to have the song region.
From the last year. Songs from the last year.
Songs that I found. The committee voted on.
Songs that you found.
Songs.
Those are, okay.
Not songs from the radio. If you're looking for Dua Lipa, not going to happen.
So
just say from the last year,
our best
Billy.
16 songs from the last year. All right, next category.
The next category is the region of death.
Ooh.
What does that mean?
It's very similar to what Iowa women's basketball
What does
apparently.
that mean? What is it? What's in there?
The region of death is going to highlight the 16. 8,
Billy,
17
can we move
because
this along,
there's a play-in
please, Billy?
situation.
Can we move this
the next
along
region, the region of death.
We're ranking people that have died in the last year.
Really?
I actually did think about doing that.
Billy, we have 4 of these to get to.
I did think of the region of death
The
and it being
region of
show
death.
show friends that are no longer with us, but thought it'd be in bad taste, so I didn't do that. So instead, the region of death is bucket of death costume payoffs. You're going to be able to vote for your costumes
All right,
there.
what are the other 2 categories?
Then you're going to have the club region with the club being back. We have 16 to 17 of our favorite, or show moments that we just kind of put under the sounds.
Okay,
yeah,
and the other bracket.
The final bracket, the final region.
What is it?
I'm
Best
most
one?
excited.
This is the best one. What is it?
Yeah, but you're going to hate this one.
What is it?
The Greg Cody region featuring Greg Cody.
Stay tuned. What a week it's going to be.
Richard Lewis would have been a 1 seed.
That's not doing it right.
I think Ike Austin improved a lot, don't you?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Ike Austin is a good one. Thank you, Stugotz.
Weird.
Ike Austin's a good one,
No
but
one's
not
ever
better than
improved.
Duncan Robinson.
Okay.
Billy, get that take machine working. Ike Austin did improve a great deal for the Miami Heat. So too did Vashawn Leonard. But no one has improved more than Duncan Robinson. I ask all of the South Florida media to eat that. No one will be able to rebut it or defeat it in an argument.
How do you measure that?
I just made it up. Most improved
so proud
to
of
my
you.
eyes. I underestimated him. He's a lot better than I thought. And Stugotz, you haven't been watching him. Like it's marked. He used to be just Kyle Korver. Now he's got more range than Kyle Korver, and he's got total balance in his game.
Stop yelling at me, man.
Stugotz,
I've never been more attracted to you.
Stugotz, they're like 42-9 when he scores 20 points. He's gotten really good at basketball.
I'm so proud of you.
What's our cannon budget? Just because I'm looking up how much we can spend on a cannon.
I think $1,000.
Okay, because we have a propane one here, but it doesn't look like a cannon. But I found a used cannon for $2,300
All right,
that
Billy,
looks like
I'm
a
going to give
pirate
you some
ship
budget.
cannon.
You build out the take machine. I want to figure out how to do this.
Dan, you have to love March because Dan Orlovsky right now is irate on Twitter. He is screaming, saying the Big East getting 3 teams into the tournament is an absolute joke and that St. John's would beat UVA or Michigan State by 12-plus points. Tom Izzo in the tournament. March, get out of here.
They would beat UVA. They would absolutely beat UVA.
Well,
I'm really sad for Indiana State, by the way.
the Sycamores.
What happened? What happened to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? Didn't he have a great Ken Palm rating?
They lost the conference championship and Virginia got in and they didn't. It's tragic.
Yeah.
Who'd you feel worse for? Did you feel worse for Indiana State or the kid at the end of that game who had the foul at the end where who were the 2 teams involved? They were up 1 and he fouled intentionally with 4 seconds left and they lost their tournament berth because it was like a hugely boneheaded moment that cost his team the tournament.
I felt bad for the people that had to clean up the confetti during the Duquesne game. I believe we have a video of that, but Kevin Harlan was on the call and he always seems to find himself in these situations where something weird, there's like a cat on the field, there's a dancing squirrel. He's always there for these. So yeah, this was in the middle of the VCU Duquesne game. And
how do you think that happens? Like, did
just
someone
started
cut
going.
the thing? Like, was there a big bag of confetti that someone cut? Did it just break? I need answers.
Someone hit the wrong button.
No one here has answers for you. You seems like you have questions, and no one here has any answers. I was talking about the end of the Kent State Akron game. So who's angriest today now? Who's angriest?
Lucy.
Is it just no? But they're all.
No, Lucy and Rick Pitino. I mean.
Rick Pitino now doesn't want to do the NIT. Tom Crean is yelling at him for not doing the NIT.
Well, he's going to hunt down all the committee members. I mean,
honestly, Mike Ryan might be the most mad because of the Miami women's team. He does not seem to be taking it well. And by the way, I'm not happy either. Notre Dame, the 2 seed in the women's bracket, is in the same bracket as South Carolina, who's the overall 1 seed. So if they make it through, they're going to have to play against South Carolina, who they played to start the season in Paris, and South Carolina beat them by 30 points. It was the first game of the season, however. I'd like to see a rematch, but I think South Carolina wins that if there is one.
We have to locally here get behind FAU, don't we? With Miami out. I mean,
no, they're disappointing all year.
Really,
that team is not the
tough
same
opening round matchup. Northwestern.
I mean, FAU's gotten to the point that they're an 8 seed and they had a disappointing season after a magical run.
I mean, Miami had a magical run last year, and now they're not in either tournament. I mean,
correct.
Life Wallet, where are you? They're under federal investigation, allegedly.
Can we do this, please?
The Wildcats have all the elements, Dan. I'm telling you. Chris Collins, championship pedigree. They have senior guard play. Boo Booey, one of the best guards, and he's a 5th-year senior, one of the best guards in the country. And I am telling you right now, I know they've been a joke in terms of college basketball for many, many years, but when you combine Chris Collins, his winning pedigree, being at Duke, and Boo Booey, one of the most underrated senior guards in America, and the way they play defense, tenacious, I am telling you, don't be surprised if the Wildcats find themselves in the Final Four. I picked them.
Was that genuine?
Chris, I need you to back away from the microphone for a second. Chris, I believe Stugotz's wife was away this weekend, and it sort of awakened the March Madness loins.
That turned me on. I'm not going to lie.
Well, hold on. I believe what's happened here. Look, Seth Davis will be able to sniff a fraud. I believe Stugotz is prepared, and this is how he came in today. He's like, Dan, he came in, he was like doing calisthenics. He's like, March Madness, that room over there, they think they're prepared. You're never prepared. You're not prepared enough. He's been studying. He's been watching some teams. He's been shaking off the cobwebs, and I believe that he's going to try and bluff his way through Seth Davis here. We'll see. We'll see. I believe that
Seth Davis is doing the bluffing.
Look, I need to explain. I don't think Lucy and Jessica have been familiar. This is the stirring of the great giant every March, the legendary media creature of Stugotz can fake his way with analysis through the tournament in a way that fools anybody.
I've worked here for 3 years, but I will say Stugotz was awakened this weekend when I texted him sports people who connote ice cream toppings, because I don't know if you're familiar with the ESPN women's bracketologist Charlie Cream, but Charlie Cream is the guy in bracketology, and it sent me down this rabbit hole. So I was texting Stugotz. I came up with a couple. Stugotz came up with a couple. I think we could do maybe like a top 5 with some
right,
OLIs. What are you talking about?
Shaking back there.
She's awakened by March Madness. Stugotz, I can start.
Go ahead.
OLI. Danny Sprinkle.
You want one for me? Houston Nut.
You can do this on the fly?
We spent the weekend doing this.
Reese Davis.
Oh, wow. Daryl Strawberry.
Heath Schuler.
Don Cherry.
Don Cherry was number 1.
Fudge Brown.
That's a good one. That's a deep cut.
That's a terrible one.
That's a deep cut.
Fudge Brown is
Everyone
terrible.
knows Fudge.
No, come on, man. It can't be that inside a joke. It
M&M.
can't. It can't be Fudge Brown.
He is a big sports fan.
Jeff Gummy Bear.
No, that's wrong. It's just asinine.
But I mean, this guy's name's Charlie Cream. Yeah. And we don't talk about it enough.
Her name is Fudge Brown, and we don't talk about it enough. But she works like deep inside the NFL labyrinth. No one knows who that is. No one. No one listening to this.
The 5 people who
The
never
joke
know.
can't be that inside. Fudge Brown. Come on.
It's a good one.
It is a good one. I can't deny it, but do better.
It's the only fudge I know.
Billy.
Hey.
Our March Sadness tournament.
Yeah.
What is the sound? Are we going to tease the audience with anything here, or we're just going to unveil it over the course of the week?
Well, this is what I was thinking, Dan, and you can approve or deny this. It's up to you. I was thinking maybe we could do the 1 seeds in each of the regions, and then maybe have kind of like a little select few from each region.
Wow,
so you're
just going to give the best.
Tease.
Wait a minute, you're going to give the best of what we've got.
Oh no,
though?
not the best. Like right now, I have here songs. I have a 1 seed, I have a 13 seed, and I have a 14 seed. So you don't know what 2 through 12 is, or 15 or 16, or the play-ins.
Before we break down the matchups later in the week, we want to just kind of tease.
Yeah,
tease can't have the 1 seeds though.
Danny sprinkled them in.
Well, these do.
Well, I mean the 1 seeds. You're gonna have an idea for how deep these regions could be. You know what I mean? Which region do you want to do, Dan? You want to do songs? You want to do the Greg Cody region? Featuring Greg Cody, the club region, or the region of death?
Songs, because Greg Cody will be here tomorrow. Songs.
This could be so happy.
All right, so here we go. Not the Greg Cody region. Here's the number 1 seed in the song region.
His name is Cooper, good at running curls, but when his hammy got a tear, he saw Puka standing there, his blade diminished. Hostile take over. Nakua hopped into the car. McVay has maybe found a star, and then Matt Stafford threw him 25.
That's Greg Cody.
Different region.
That's the number.
Different region.
Greg
though.
Cody's the number 1 seed.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though. Is that not a song?
It is a great song, but
it would be pretty funny if Greg has his own bracket and is in multiple featured songs and still doesn't win March Sadness.
He probably was the biggest star of the year. I mean,
good year for him.
Yeah, big year.
Don't need the glow.
I'm not feeling great energy from you, Dan.
That's the 1 seed in songs, Dan, not the Greg Cody bracket.
Our fans are going to love this. Are you kidding me? We're going to play songs, play Greg Cody
so
clips.
we are eliminating the looks like game as I demand younger and smarter.
Yeah.
And Adam McKay and Mike Schur can't get into difficultly written things.
And they're not funny.
Because we're supporting Greg Cody?
Funny.
There is professional Seth Davis. You just saw it. He is pulling a curtain in some hotel somewhere where he has been going over the numbers. I'm sure it smells like the committee over there because Seth Davis over the last 20 years has climbed into the granules of college basketball, Stugotz, and he's one of the voices on Sunday who's going to tell us about the 40 teams we don't know we're all going to be gambling on over the course of the next few weeks. And so all he's here for, all Chris Cody wants from him is, hey, Seth, abandon all your journalistic principles and just tell me who to bet on. Tell me who's going to surprise people because he likes the matchup. But Seth has to be a journalist. He has to be integrity. He's been doing this for 20 years, Stugotz. How many names do you associate with? This guy's going to tell me who's got it right, who's got it wrong for 68 teams. How many names can you mention that you associate like this one with this person's information is going to be good?
Seth Davis and Jay Billis.
Is it? It's not just two of you. Who else is on that list, Seth? Who else is on it?
There's a lot of guys. Andy Katz, Mike DeCourcy, of course, the people that I work with, Clark Kellogg, Jay Wright, Candace Parker in Atlanta. And you know that Chuck and Kenny have been studying college basketball very closely.
No, Seth, that's bullshit. Charles wings his way through the tournament every year. It is the most amazing slalom job I've ever seen. He knows nothing about what he's watching, and he's doing it for 8 hours a day, and it's just the fraudster. Like, he doesn't, he's just doing research before the game.
But he knows basketball.
Yes.
He knows what he sees, and Kenny, they know what they see. So, it's good.
It's
the
the greatest
gig.
Man. It's the greatest gig.
It's the best. But what's this thing about gambling? No, who's gambling? Are people gambling?
Chris Cody, here, let's lift the veil away from this nonsense that's
Give me
happening.
the value, Seth.
Yes.
Who's
the look, Seth? Seth, give us fast and easy value, cheap and easy. We haven't talked to you in a while. Get to the good stuff.
Well, my only rule with this is no blaming. Like my buddies, they call me from Vegas. They want to know my picks. I'm like, no blaming.
Seth, stop
we all know the person who knows the least always wins the office pool. I went I'm kind of kicking myself. Look, I get like literally 6 minutes to fill up my bracket because they hand us the sheet of paper from the committee. We're 10 minutes to the start of the selection show. I got to make my picks and go through all my comments. And I think that's the best way to do it, frankly. But I've got a lot of chalk late in the tournament, okay? Houston and UConn are the two best teams in this tournament. Purdue is tricky. I'm not going to lie. Purdue is tricky, and they drew two tricky teams in their region if they play them in Creighton and Tennessee.
That slab of meat,
Yeah.
Edey, is just going to get in everyone's way. No, that slab of meat, that fouling slab of meat that can't be defended, can't be guarded, plants itself in the key and is Yao Ming's body, that cannot be allowed to ruin this tournament, Seth. Cannot be allowed.
I'm sensing some Zach Edey backlash. Are you in that camp and not appreciating the Big Maple?
He would have been drafted.
He
would have been drafted ahead of Michael Jordan in 1984. I am not underestimating him.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Zach Edey is he lives at the foul line. And I know this is a big conversation. I've talked to people, including inside the Big Ten, that say they don't call enough fouls against Zach Edey, okay? What are you going to do? The guy's 7'5", 270, and he knows how to play at this point because he's been there forever. And so you got to either stop him from catching the ball in close or foul him, and he's become a 72% foul shooter. But let me give you a nugget about Creighton. First of all, they have the best defensive center in the Big East and one of the best in the country in Ryan Kalkbrenner. And they are number one on KenPom in defensive free throw rate. They are the best team in the entire country at not fouling. And they have some dynamic guards of the kind that Purdue has had trouble with. So, look, we all know the blueprint with Purdue. Edey's going to roll out of bed and get you 24 and 10. I mean, that's just the reality. The question is, it's not about him scoring from the foul line. It's fouling everybody out. In other words, if you're Creighton and Ryan Kalkbrenner gets a second foul with 9 minutes to go in the first half, it's going to be a long day. But there will come a time, and probably multiple times, when the idiots, as I call them, Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, Lance Jones, who was not on the team last year, transferred from Southern Illinois, they are going to have to win a game for Purdue with their three-point shooting under the most immense pressure that an athlete can face. And then Tennessee, of course, has a dynamic scorer in Dalton Connect, as well as some big, strong guys inside. Jonas Adu is a good defensive center. If you're going to draw up teams that Purdue doesn't want to see, Creighton and Tennessee would be on the short list. Having said that, I picked Purdue to go to the Final Four. So what the hell do I know?
Idiot also sounds like what you could call the Zach Edey haters, I think, right? The idiots. My question,
the idiots, idiots or idiot. That's an excellent distinction. Thank you. Because you have to be an idiot. You have to be an idiot to hate Zach Edey. Go get a life.
Seth Davis.
Go get a life.
It's not that I hate him. I don't hate him. He's just he's a problem. He's a plague. There's a tree trunk. It's an ocean liner moving through the lane, and college kids are draped from his thighs. And it's like, and what are you going to do? He's stronger than everybody.
And this is the problem. All right, well, that's fine. Look, you can say you hate him if he's playing against your team. You love him if he's playing for your team. I went to Duke with Christian Laettner. I know about player hate.
My question was that you said you have Purdue in your Final Four. Does that mean you have a Purdue UConn championship? And would you take UConn or the field?
That's a great question. I always take the field over one team. That's just the reality of the NCAA tournament. There was actually an interesting dialogue because we've had a big three in college basketball with UConn, Houston, and Purdue, which has, mostly separated. Come back a little bit to the field in the last couple of weeks, but those have been the big three all season. And it was, do you take the big three or the field? And I would definitely take the big three. Let me just say something about UConn. So there have been two teams that repeated as national champs since John Wooden did it in the 70s. Duke in 92 and Florida in 2007. And in both instances, those teams brought back the previous team basically intact. UConn lost 3 starters and they lost 5 of their top 8 scorers, and they are the heavy favorite going into this thing. You can't say enough about the job that Dan Hurley is doing. I like Houston. Now they got blown out by Iowa State. I'm not surprised they lost necessarily. I think Iowa State's really good. Absolutely got screwed on the seeding, by the way. Not necessarily being a 2 versus a 1, but being the lowest number 2, which has ramifications because now they have to go to Boston, but technically to play UConn. I was not
Seth,
necessarily.
Seth, can I stop you for?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I stop you for just a second? People just want to hear his most screwed on the seedings, right? Like everybody wants that. Like
whatever you want.
Yeah, but it's
I want double-digit seeds that can make it to the Final Four, like Utah State. I agree with you on Purdue, and Utah State could face Purdue in the second round. I'm telling you, Seth, I love the Aggies out of the Mountain West, 27-6 overall. One of the great coaches in America, Danny Sprinkle. They have experienced guard play. They could stretch the floor. Great Osabar is a fantastic player. Landon Breachley, also a very, very good player. They have guard play. They play tenacious D, and they can score with anyone in the country. What says you?
I'm with you. If you're looking for double-digit seeds, I mean, there's not going to be many of them you would think about making a Final Four. If Drake were not in UConn's region, I might add them to the list.
Well, but hold on, Seth. Can I stop you?
Yeah.
May I stop
Yeah,
you?
sure.
I believe that your analysis will not be as good as Stugotz's analysis on Drake. So let's. I believe that he thinks Drake is better than even you think Drake is.
The Bulldogs out of the Missouri Valley Conference, 28-6 overall, 16-4 inside the conference. Great coach, Darren DeVries, and a little nepotism. I love this time of year a team with a little nepotism because his son, Trevor DeVries, is one of the great guards, Dan, in America. Plus, they have Aiden Wright. I'm telling you, this team is deep. They have guys off the bench. They play defense. They can stretch the floor, and they can rebound and score with any team in the country. How about that?
Well, aside from pronouncing the name wrong and saying Trevor instead of Tucker, I'm with you.
That's March.
I'm with you, and your deep knowledge, and your deep knowledge of Drake. I am with you.
Thank you.
Tucker DeVries reminds me of Doug McDermott, who also played for his dad, which is interesting. To quote Joe Buck, of course, the son of a great sportscaster himself, I'm in favor of nepotism as long as we keep it inside the family. So, I like Drake, but look, you're talking about having to go through Iowa State, Illinois, and UConn to get to a Final Four. Yeah. But that's why they're double-digit seed. Let me give you a couple. I mentioned Grand Canyon. Now, for all you bracket filler-outers out there, look for the automatic qualifier teams, the higher-seeded teams that won their regular season in the conference as well as the conference tournament. In other words, you have Duquesne, which is a great story out of the Atlantic 10. They were sixth in the conference and then got hot in the conference tournament. Did they get hot? Did they get lucky? Whatever it was, Zy Gesund, they're in the dance. But a team like Grand Canyon, which not only dominated the WAC and then won the WAC tournament, really good coach in Bryce Drew, they've been to the tournament 3 of the last 4 years. Colgate has been to the tournament 5 years in a row. And there's another team that escapes me that had been there 3 years in a row. So Drake has recent NCAA tournament experience as well. I like a couple of teams coming out of the South, okay? James Madison. James Madison opened the season. They won at Michigan State. Everybody said, what the hell's wrong with Michigan State? James Madison is what was wrong. There you go. I get my own sound.
He's giving you a pick. He's giving you a pick.
Classic 12-5.
Give us another pick. Give us another pick.
Classic 12-5, by the way.
Fill out brackets. Okay. Seth, stop dancing around it, all right? Nobody wants. Yes, thank you.
No one wants the
another
reasons.
12-5.
No one wants the reasons.
Yes.
No one wants the reasons. I totally agree. McNeese, another team that won a ton of games, romped through its conference tournament, Will Wade. And then my upset special, which if you think about it, it wouldn't even be that upsetting, is Samford over Kansas. Say it with me, everybody.
Oh, wow.
Samford
big one there.
Over
a big
Kansas.
One.
America is going to fall in love with buckyball.
Stugotz, give
Jayhawks. Stugotz, are you with me?
Give Seth your UAB pick.
The team, I love UAB, the Blazers, Coach Andy Kennedy. They haven't been this good since Gene Bartow was their head coach. 24-11 out of the American Athletic Conference. I love their guard, Eric Gainey. I love Efron Johnson as well, some of the best guard play in the country. I'm telling you, this team can make a deep run in the NCAA tournament. Don't be surprised, Seth, if the Blazers find themselves in the Sweet 16.
I'll be surprised, but nothing can shock me. Again, you're only because you're going against my rule about winning the regular season. I think they were the fourth seed in that conference tournament. Right. So look,
they had to win to get in.
Possible.
I mean,
they had to win to get in. Look, I think San Diego State's really good. I think they've underperformed at times.
Aztecs.
But I will say this. Auburn, even though I've got them in the Sweet 16, Auburn's vulnerable in the sense that they're one of those teams that they don't have to win one way, but they kind of have to win one way. They want to beat you 95-90. If they have to beat you 65-60, it could be a problem. So San Diego State will force them to beat them 65-60. But going up against UConn, obviously my pick to win it all.
Seth,
but Auburn's got to play a good Yale team. Yale has been solid in the Ivy all season long. Don't count out the Bulldogs.
Okay, don't count out the Bulldogs. All right, so Yale is also Stugotz. I've got to get him out here in 50 seconds here. I got to squeeze all of the juice that there is to be squozen here.
Squeeze me, baby. Squeeze me, baby.
You said screwed on seating, and I want to know what the audience wants more. Is it Stugotz's double-digit dogs likely to make it to the Sweet 16, or outraged Seth on screwed on seating? What's the better 30 seconds?
Outrage Seth, I think. I do. Yes.
I just think, look, first of all, if you're a bubble team, I don't want to hear from you. I just don't. I don't want you complaining about the net. I don't want you to tell me analytics are BS. Don't put yourself on the bubble. Don't put that game in the hands of the refs. There's only so many slots, and there's always going to be a few teams left out, and they're always going to feel screwed. And I wish coaches would be just like, hey, our fault. If we had won more, we wouldn't be in this situation. What the committee did with Iowa State was wrong. And the reason is, if you look at Iowa State's body of work, they were very comparable. Their record in the top two quads in the net was identical to North Carolina. They had better wins than North Carolina. The one thing they had was a weak non-conference strength of schedule ranking, but their overall strength of schedule ranking was comparable to all of the other candidates. So many people don't know the committee actually seeds the entire field 1 through 68 and places teams in a geographic region as they go down the list. So there's a pretty big difference between having to play UConn in Boston and having to play North Carolina in Los Angeles, or even Purdue in Detroit. So I think the committee was like trying to send a message about the importance of non-conference scheduling. I don't think you should make I don't think you should be sending any messages. I think you should be voting on the teams. But otherwise, hey, man, everybody loves to complain about this stuff. And by the time the games tip off, nobody cares. Let's get this thing rolling.
We are out of time, Seth, but Jessica has something for you to close it out. And I will tell the audience, he's been a mainstay at CBS Sports for the NCAA tournament. Like I said, 20 years. He's also the co-author of the bestseller. Rex Chapman is actually doing good work out there, showing people the innards of his vulnerability. It's hard for me to live with me. Check out his new Substack. It's called Seth Davis Writes Again. But Jessica, what do you have for Seth as we close this out?
Indiana State was screwed. True or correct?
False. Don't put yourself on the bubble.
No.
Hey, Indiana State was the third team out, okay? We had 5 teams, an incredible number. 5 teams won their conference tournament who would not have been at-large candidates. Last year, I think there was 1. The year before, there was 2. So Indiana being the third team out, if either 1 or 2 teams had done that, they would have actually been in the field. So the real estate got kind of squeezed there in the end. Everybody who's like the first, second, third, fourth team out, they all have a case to say they were screwed. Win and you're in, baby.
You put the sick in sycamores, sir.
Terrible.
You're an idiot.
Terrible. Terrible. You got to let Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in the tournament.
But Drake
said, I wrote a book on Indiana State. When March went mad, go to Amazon and buy it.
Brutal. You can't keep that. It was anti-Mexican. Avila needs to be in the tournament just because.
Well, then win his tournament.
No.
Right. If they're so good, how come they didn't beat
Get
Drake?
out of here.
According to Stugotz, Drake is the 86 Celtics. So what do I know?
He bluffed his way through the whole thing.
I mean, 28-6 in the Missouri Valley Conference.
Yeah, just so you know, it's DeVries.
Whatever. Tomato.
We have failed today as a show so far. No one more than Chris Cody, executive producer, because this show has gone this long. Lucy, you're looking at me, but what I'm about to say, everyone in the audience will agree with. Everyone in this room, every employee at Meadowlark will agree with what I'm about to say, which is us going this far into the show without playing the video of Amin El-Hassan, our basketball expert, taking a jump shot at a celebrity all-star game in which not only was it a terrible air ball, but what he did with his follow-through was an international shame that got him dragged by the entirety of the internet. The fact that our show has not done more with this, that we have not reached out to Amin and woken him up, that we have not made fun of the hand gesture at the end, which is a bit abracadabra, but is no one's idea of basketball expertise and follow through.
What is that?
It's a finger roll from the easiest 3-point shot in the NBA, and the internet is totally mocking him. And we've waited 2 hours to do so. Billy,
Hey,
I mean,
yeah.
Chris Cody should be punished for this, don't you think, in terms of lack of judgment?
No, we had to get to the Aaron Donald stuff, so it's good that we did this. The thing about this clip, because I'm not going to say that I didn't have multiple group texts that were going on yesterday commenting on this video that were sent to me. The hand thing is an obvious one, right? I think, and you can't see it on this shot because of our lower bar there, but he has a situation where his feet are in opposite directions at one point in time. Like, not like they're opening out or they're facing in. Like, one has his heel down on the ground and the other has his toe down on the ground, which I don't understand how he shot the ball that way at all. He also has, like, the Under Armour, like the long sleeve Under Armour under his jersey, and then, like, the Dwayne Wade, like, compression pants under his short. There's just a lot.
He's trying, and Hoop Herald
Trying too hard.
Well, Hoop Herald reports while playing this video, and he is getting excoriated. It's got millions of views. Millions of views.
I mean, the follow-through.
This is a legit human being who has a platform that is criticizing NBA players. Make it make sense.
I think the best part about the video was you click the video to start, and I think everybody pretty much knew exactly how it was going to end, right? Like, when you see the video, you know exactly how it's going to go, but it's kind of like, how are we going to get there, you know?
If I were Amin, I would have just said, that's not me. His face isn't in the video. I think he could have gotten away with it.
It's a heady play.
AI, it looked like him, though, but the hand gesture, it is being mocked internationally. And, people are writing, getting dragged. Amin El-Hassan used to be on ESPN, worked for the Suns a long time ago, #1 NBA analyst on the Dan Le Batard Show. This right here may have ended his career. I'm a fan of his, but I can't see anybody taking his basketball analysis seriously after this. And then, because the thread continues, tells you all you need to know, Dan Le Batard is a goofball. Of course, he's going to have goofballs on his show. I can't protest.
That guy gets the show.
He claimed the ball was slippery.
Oh, stop
Because Jess's tweet hit the nail right on the head. It looks like a circle changeup that he's throwing.
We're trying to reach him. It did look like a circle change.
He's hiding?
It was a flutter ball. It was a bit of a knuckleball. He's not hiding. He sent me an audio message. I want you to play it. We're now having difficulty scheduling him all of a sudden. All of a sudden, it's difficult
Convenient,
to schedule. Amin's I got to go do bully ball with Rachel Nichols. I'm very busy. I don't have time to
Who
cover up
signs
my
the checks,
tracks.
buddy? Like, that's what you hit him back with, Dan. If you're him, you're like, hey, big show, not bully ball, okay? Here's the bully ball. Get on my show or get the hell out of
Billy,
here.
can you come listen to these audio messages so find out whether he's excuse making or not? Because he's sending.
It's he's excuse making.
Okay, but I need to. We have an hour to reach Amin, and it appears he's in hiding, and I don't blame him because the internet is embarrassing him.
Now, we have his on-court explanation. He sent a new audio note, like, from this morning?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, because we have his
Yes.
explanation on the court
All right, let's
if
hear
we
it.
wanted to play that, too.
Yeah.
Hit it.
So this is the holy month of Ramadan, and y'all picking on me. I'm trying to be holy. I'm out here not eating and drinking away. It is. Number two, I haven't played basketball since the 2017 NBA Finals. That's true. Okay. So, that's a long-ass layup for me to come out of retirement, run up and down here. Number three, them small balls are really light. So it's like it flies. You know what's funny? When they had the whole Sabrina versus Steph conversation, Edey Johnson told me it's harder to shoot with a women's ball than it is with a men's ball. That Sabrina would have shot better if she shot with the men's ball than she would have with the women's ball. You know what? I tend to agree now. Having shot with a women's ball, everything is light. So my hand was all going flippy-floppy. Number four, look at these injuries. This is my pinky finger. It does this. I have a broken wrist. I got a bad back. Number five, y'all anyway.
What's wrong with his pinky finger?
It's jacked up.
He really cranked up the excuse machine.
Flippy floppy was one of the excuses.
I don't
Ramadan,
know. I don't. Well, Ramadan. Yes, I didn't have the strength that my flutter ball would normally have.
It's a great place to go.
I will again say, Tony will vouch on this. I will again say if you've never been on an NBA court, you don't have any idea how far that rim actually is. Because they make it look easy, these giant people who can do it well from out there. But it is further than you think it is. Many of us would look terrible taking NBA threes.
Look at that finger.
But not as terrible as Amin, our basketball expert. Stugotz, I need some help with a couple of things because we're going to try and track down. We have tracked down the Long Beach State coach, Dan Monson. He was fired on Monday. Now they're in the tournament.
I love it.
We're going to talk to him because it's just a funny story. He's fired on Monday, and then they win, and they're winning. They let him keep coaching.
Right, through the tournament, not expecting he would win the conference tournament.
Correct.
Now he's in the NCAA tournament.
That's correct. It's weird. So you're fired, but okay, well, we'll ride it out.
He's got to come back now, right?
I want to talk to him about this. We'll see. I don't think he can come back. I think he's been fired.
Come on. They haven't hired a new coach yet, right? He's in the tournament. Like, how deep does he have to go in the tournament to get his job back or get a job somewhere else? How about that?
But he's been fired.
He's in the tourney.
You rehire someone.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you not?
We'll ask him. He'll be on later in the show, but I didn't know if you knew this. Did Jessica take my phone outside?
Yeah, so here's what's going on. Amin sent 2 different voice notes and said this is the only way that I can be reached, which is weird because he could just call in if he's doing this on his phone, but he's not doing that. He sent 2 voice notes, but your phone hasn't been updated, so you can't download them, and then you don't have something that can be screen recorded either because you got to do the update there. So we're having the technology department figure out how to get that audio off of your phone.
In the meantime, there's a risotto drought.
What?
Risotto is in danger.
Why?
Because the fields where they're made, and there's such a drought on the fields that it's getting so pricey. We've all noticed, correct? Everyone's noticed the price of everything has gone up, and food is now unreasonable. Restaurants everywhere else. Now, I don't know if risotto's endangered, but it's something.
You mean like arborio rice, right? Because like the risotto is the cooked. That's the thing that gets everyone chopped.
It's close to being endangered.
Okay, so it turns out in 2022, the worst drought in 200 years struck the Po, the river that feeds the system of canals that irrigates the paddy fields. As a result, Italy lost 26,000 hectares of rice fields, and production of the grain dropped by more than 30%, and things haven't improved since.
What? Stanley Tucci. Go fix that.
I didn't know that risotto was I don't know if you guys noticed over the past couple years, Christmas tree prices have been crazy, right? And the reason that Christmas tree prices really?
Never.
Well, so Christmas tree prices were crazy for a while because there was a shortage of Christmas trees. The reason there was a shortage of Christmas trees was because of the economy 8 years ago or something, because that's the amount of time it takes for a Christmas tree to grow. So situations back then made it so that now there was a shortage of Christmas trees and then prices went up. So it seems like risotto might be in the same boato.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju. Is risotto in the same boato as the Christmas tree?
I'm voting yes.
Great news for Chops contestants.
Let's tally up your votos.
This guy gets it.
Yeah.
You guys ever seen My Cousin Vinny?
Chris, you're not supposed to say what was that when you're the executive producer.
What was that?
Let me play some video here.
I think there's a ghost in here.
Let me play some video here for the audience, Stugotz. I don't know if you saw this weekend, but I couldn't believe, I was legitimately surprised that Sammy Sosa, after all of these years of rehearsing for this question, hadn't thought of what might be his counter when someone asked him a follow-up. When you mention these mistakes, will you be specific about what the mistake is?
Is it time for you and Tom Ricketts to sit down to get back into their good graces?
Well, like I say, I'm a mature man. I think that it's a possibility that we can do that. I'm open. I don't have a problem with that. I have, like I said, I had a lot of misunderstanding in the past, but now I'm a real man. I feel great, so I recognize my mistake. So hey, why not?
Are you telling me that you recognize the fact that maybe you did do steroids?
This is like I say, this is not a question that I expected from you.
Is it time for you?
You let him right to the question.
Maybe you did do steroids is the hardest question he's gotten in 20 years on the subject, and he was not at all prepared for it.
Not a question that I expected from you.
We wanted to bring in a legitimate expert here on this basketball shot because she's been covering a quarter century. She's been covering the heights of basketball greatness. She's interviewed everybody who's ever mattered in the sport. She's got a number of different professional relationships with all of the people in basketball who matter. And Rachel Nichols can break down for us whether or not Amin is being a coward here, hiding from us, because the audio messages I'm getting from Amin are not helpful in terms of saying whether he's going to be on the show to answer questions, Rachel. He's got bully ball. He keeps saying, I have bully ball today. I don't have time to answer your questions about the jump shot at the Celebrity All-Star Game. Can you guys please put that in the corner of the screen? Just have it running for Rachel so she can tell me what she saw and how much our colleague deserves to be roasted. Because, Rachel, they're questioning his expertise. Nobody can cover basketball well if that's how they shoot.
I mean, I wonder if he can walk well if that's how he shoots. I mean, that was offensive to the human senses on so many levels deeper than basketball. What was he doing? What was happening? What was the elbow? What was the finger flick? I mean, I really want to know what the basketball name for that is supposed to be, according to him. And frankly, we have gotten no answers, right? There have been little bits and bits on Twitter or whatever, bleeps and blops, but we need Amin Elhassan to take some responsibility for what the hell happened over there.
Chris Cody, can you help me, please? Because she's got a new show, Bully Ball, with Boogie Cousins, and maybe Boogie can beat it out of Amin because he's now avoiding us. We're his main paycheck, not Bully Ball. We are his main paycheck, and he's avoiding us. Will you and Boogie ask the hard questions on Bully Ball?
Oh, I mean, you've met Boogie Cousins. He's not afraid of a confrontation. So I just think that the referees were just a prelude to what's going to happen today with Amin. I can't. I need to know what he was thinking. I mean, I'm really getting my interview hat on here, Dan, for this later today, because I just feel like I need to go into his childhood, maybe, to find out what trauma he underwent that caused
Cody,
that shot.
Are we not going to get Amin? Is Amin now not going to be
dodging us, Dan?
We're efforting.
All right. Regardless, whether or not Amin is there, Bully Ball is going to be, yes?
Is that a requirement of an NBA analyst to have a good shot? Like, I'm guessing Brian Windhorst is going to shoot some air balls from the three-point line as well. I'm just guessing.
But it's the form. It's the form that's problematic. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not that he missed it. Anybody
Right.
can shoot an air ball. It's not. It's the embarrassment of how is this person critiquing the athleticism of anybody when he looks like a crooked, rusty fence breaking apart and splintering at the fingertips.
Okay.
It's a judgment thing also, right? We're supposed to trust his judgment on the NBA if he also believed that he could go out and shoot that basketball. I have so many questions.
Do you believe any of his excuses?
No, and by the way, there were so many of them, weren't there?
Religious.
He's like, I have
religious,
this excuse,
fasting,
that excuse, this excuse, 5 excuses.
But fasting, his God is to blame. His sacrifice on behalf of his God.
Give him credit there. That's a heady play.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Him unbelievable. He checkmated us. Really? Your religion is why you look like that shooting an air ball?
But on the same weekend, Kyrie Irving hit one of the great shots of this decade in the NBA, and he is also fasting for Ramadan. So I want nothing. I want nothing of that from Amin.
Okay, Stugotz, we don't know.
Do it in the
You were traveling, so how much information did you get from the weekend? Like, how informed are you on things like Kyrie Irving? Because what the shot he made over Jokic, to have Luka Doncic be in a position where he seems awed by what he's just seen, it is fun, Rachel, to see stakes in the West this late in the season and the top of the sport caring because, those are your champions there, and beating them still means something. And Kyrie wants to get back from the beyond of what the last 3 years have been. So you tell us when you're watching yesterday, Stugotz? When you're seeing any of this, are you being caught up in the storylines, or are you missing it because you're traveling?
No, I did go away this weekend. I was in Chicago again. The only thing I read up on is Grand Canyon. I love them. The Antelopes out of the Western Athletic, 29-4, 17-3 in the conference. I am telling you, Tyson Grant Foster, TGF, Dan, one of the great guards in America. They have senior guard play. They are deep. They can stretch the court. They can score with anyone. And people don't know this, Dan. They don't know this. Bryce Drew, head coach, championship pedigree. They play defense as well as anyone in the country. How about that? Don't be surprised if the Antelopes wind up in the Elite Eight.
Rachel, are you sophisticated enough to see that Stugotz is all bull there, that he's just making things up, that he's got like 3 or 4 facts, and all he's doing is just, it's not inaccurate what he's saying, but it's bare minimum information that he actually has. He's cheating with cue cards.
Experienced guard play.
I just think that he thinks if he throws in like a nickname, initials, he's like, oh yeah, no one's going to doubt me because I've got the nickname.
Correct.
Well, Rachel, can you explain this part? Because one of the things I love about the evolution of sports content coverage is that what you're doing every Monday with Boogie Cousins, you could have worked with anybody. You've made a specific choice here about who you want to analyze basketball best with, so that you provide entertainment, but also information for the people who want maximum sort of geeking out on basketball from somebody who I think people don't know the way you do. So you're introducing Boogie Cousins to people that I don't think many people have seen before.
Yeah, no, Boogie is an incredibly smart person in general. So he's great talking about basketball because then he can explain sort of the expertise he has on a very personal level. He's also played with everyone. That's the thing. He had the superstar start to his career, 4 all-star appearances, all of that. But when he went into the journeyman phase of his career after he got hurt, he played on that Warriors team that made the finals with Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and Draymond Green and Klay Thompson and the whole crew. He played on the Nuggets with Jokic. He played on the Bucks with Giannis. So he has moved around and been up close and personal with so many current players and situations in the NBA. That's one of the best parts of this show, is that he sits there and he goes behind the scenes and tells you, well, this is what happens with Klay, and this is what happens when he gets down on himself. From a TV perspective, he's a lot more like Draymond Green or Charles Barkley in that mold of just will say whatever he thinks, doesn't sugarcoat anything, but has a lot of smarts behind it.
Can you explain to us, I think we did that all seamlessly, the co-host of Bully Ball with Boogie Cousins is Rachel Nichols. Amin will be there later today. You can catch new episodes every Monday. And I would tell you to subscribe to All the Smoke Productions on YouTube. They are close to 1 million subscribers, and they're building out their own empire with Rachel over there. But from what you saw this weekend, Rachel, and the specifics of the league media narratives still spend too much time with Steph Curry and LeBron when it seems clear that the young people in that sport, the future of that sport, at a complicated time in America, it is their time now. And I'm wondering, as you, a veteran media analyst, see that Adam Silver suddenly gets dragged over the weekend because Curry, LeBron is fouled up by technical issues. And I'm seeing Adam Silver criticized, and I'm like, really? He's responsible for that. But it feels like the league has a bit of a crossroads in terms of what it's going to do with its next generation of stars.
Well, you and I lived through the whole next Jordan thing, right? The Harold Miner years, as I like to call them, where everybody was going crazy, thinking the sport was going to die and was it going to be Grant Hill, but then Grant Hill got so hurt, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're a little bit with that now. We have what the next generation after the Currys and LeBron is, right? We have that already. That's Luka, that's Jokic, that's Giannis. But because it is a group of players that sort of came in and played in the shadow of probably one of the greatest generations in all of basketball, those guys have never sort of, as popular as they are and as crazy accomplished as they are, they haven't captured people in the same way that LeBron and Steph did. In fact, you have to go a little bit younger for that. And that's where you get the John Morant. That's where you get Donovan Mitchell. That's where you get some of these guys who really are just sort of popping off of your screen. And the fact that John Morant in particular isn't here right now because of his injury and earlier because of his suspension, I think that has delayed a little bit some of that actual transferring, and also that middle group as well sort of makes it a little bit awkward. So it's just sort of a different time where some of the absolute best players in the world have not become beloved in the same way some of their elders have been. But I do think that we have so much exciting basketball that that people get into it once the playoffs are there, and that meritocracy matters. And that's what some of the backlash you saw over the weekend was to me.
I'm really loving this couch situation you got going on here. Where did you get it?
Thank you.
I
By the way, I want to compliment myself because for the last
deserve
2
it.
weeks, thank you. For the last 2 weeks, I have managed to wear shirts that are the exact color of this couch. So I've been sort of a floating head style. And today I managed to dress myself properly.
It's very cool, though. The couch, your studio setting looks velvety.
It is. It's velvet to the touch, Dan. So, you can come down here and do your show anytime.
I'm upset, though, because this show, more so than any other show, deserves the floating head. I mean, I want the floating head. We're not getting a floating head.
I mean,
yeah.
Maybe have me back in a couple weeks. We'll see. But I got myself dressed this morning, and I really think I deserve many pats on the head for that. It's much earlier here than it is out there.
Rachel, do you know about color specialists? Because I was learning about this in the break. It turns out that you have experts you can go to that can give you the colors that work best for you.
I want to know, Billy, what color you think you are, what season you are. Is that how they say it? Like, are you an autumn or something? And also, where would you go for this color analysis?
Yeah.
Well, so Jess and Lucy were catching me up on this, and we're kind of workshopping the idea of having a color specialist come in, and maybe we can do a whole segment or episode around it. You're welcome to join us if you would like, but I didn't even know this was a thing.
I would like to be part of that.
Okay, perfect.
Please.
Dan, you can't come with, but Rachel, I think you would be a perfect green emerald.
Yeah. Also, Dan, you're paying for this. Yeah. That please was a confirmation. We're
in business with Rachel now. If Rachel wants to do things, we need to be doing them with her. So if colorist special content is what you guys want to make, I'm all for it. Let's do it. What are we waiting for?
Dan, I feel you're a deep winter.
I want a set like yours. I'm jealous that our stuff doesn't look like that. Our stuff, look at where.
Just turn off the lights.
But look, it's so much mood she's giving off. There is so much attitude behind her, and all of it is it's welcoming, it's inviting, it's warm, it's charming, it's stylish. It's none of the things we are. Because Amin is also a frequent guest. I was told he was trying to break into what it is that we were doing there, that he was causing.
I see.
We're trying to locate Amin. So he'll be on one of the shows. You've promised to answer the questions if we can't get to them. You've promised that Bully Ball will get to the bottom of whatever Amin was trying to achieve at that game.
Yes, Bully Ball is on the case. We have a full investigation going. I have questions for Stugotz, though, by the way.
Okay.
Okay, you're going to quiz him on the weekend?
Well, I heard him chat earlier that he was traveling, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Which, we got to dig into that a little deeper. What, is too hot to play golf at home or what?
No, I was traveling to see my daughter's lacrosse team play. That's all.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Well, that's fair. So I want to know how much you paid attention to sports over the weekend, being as you are one of the premier co-hosts in America of one of the top sports shows that over the last decade.
I'm not going to be
I'd like to hear a little bit about what you do.
I'm not going to take a quiz.
I'm not going to take it.
He's going to take it.
You're too good.
Go ahead. Fire away. Fire away. This is fair.
How many questions do you have here? What is the nature of the questions?
All right. So I have 5 questions.
Wow.
I feel that someone of Stugotz's level maybe can answer them. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
So basically, but just to be clear on what we're trying to do here, Rachel is an accomplished journalist, Stugotz, that you share this space with. She has worked all of her life and is meticulously prepared and thorough when she's being asked questions. Mm-hmm. You are now going to ask him 5 basic sports questions for the weekend to see if our Monday morning host Stugotz, after 30 years of doing this, tried at all this weekend to inform himself.
Yes.
The antelopes.
Yes.
All right, number 5.
Yes. I want to know which one of the following coaches was recently fired, Stugotz, despite a winning percentage of more than 55%. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. Coach at Stanford, Gerard Hayes. Mm-hmm. Coach at Long Beach State, Dan Munson. Mm-hmm. Coach at Michigan, of course, Juwan Howard. Mm-hmm. Coach at Vanderbilt, Mr. Jerry Stackhouse. Which one was recently fired despite having a more than 55% winning percentage?
Long Beach State.
Really? 2-time Miami Heat champion, Juwan Howard. Nothing for you?
He didn't even notice Juwan Howard got fired. How, Stugotz?
Wow.
not what happened.
I mean,
you just had one story from the weekend, not the other.
Long Beach State. Yeah,
he lost 26 games, Juwan Howard. He was as bad as Patrick Ewing. It fell apart very quickly. Number 4, Rachel.
I want to know, Stugotz, a fake Woj bomb tricked the broadcasters of a particular NBA team over the weekend. They started talking about how Woj tweeted that a legend of that franchise had retired, and unfortunately found out later it was all just fake interneting. So will you tell me which broadcast it was? The Warriors broadcast? Was it the Wizards broadcast, the Knicks broadcast, or the Bulls broadcast? Give it to me.
I'm going to say the Bulls broadcast.
Ding, 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 ding.
Congratulations, Stugotz.
Thank you.
Is this because you were in Chicago this weekend?
No, it was just a guess.
He was just guessing, and he guessed correctly somehow. And so this is a big one here. It's best of 3, even though he guessed to this. And I've still.
We only have time for 3.
We only have time for 3. What's the third one, Rachel?
Okay. All right. I want to know which of the following parents this weekend of college tournament games, which parent went viral for their son in a conference tournament? LeBron James, Eddie House, Dennis Rodman, or Julia Louis-Dreyfus?
Oh, wow. Not LeBron. Oh, man.
That keen insight into the sport, Dan.
Can I hear
he was able to just knock that one out.
You don't know?
I want to hear the choices
you
again.
You either know or you don't know. You either know what the story is.
I want to hear the choices
but
again.
Are you guessing or do you know?
Perhaps. I just want to hear them again. What are the choices?
Okay. LeBron James.
Yeah.
Eddie House.
Right.
Dennis Rodman, or Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Wow. So I have to eliminate. This is what I learned when I took TASC growing up. You eliminate 2, so I have.
So you don't know. So you don't
Eddie
know.
House.
No, but you don't know.
Eddie House. Oh, I do know. Oh, I do know. Oh, I do know, Dan Le Batard.
The game doesn't work when you're right, Stugotz.
Holy shit, you guys didn't tell me Murr was coming on. Dude.
You want to hang out with Murr?
You're muted.
Go
There
ahead.
we go.
Go ahead. Now Amin wants to
damn fool.
All right.
Murr, let me just tell you right now.
What was that list?
Oh, it's a list of me getting roasted, Murr. That's not important right now. What's important is I love Impractical Jokers. It is one of my favorite shows. I share your clips all the time. Every time I'm on the road, I'm in a hotel room, and I don't know like what's to watch. I know in my heart of hearts, let me go to True TV because I know Impractical Jokers has a marathon on, and I sit there and I laugh my ass off the whole time. You guys are absolute legends. I wish I could have the bravery to do some of the bullshit you guys do in public. So
we play on True TV 9 days a week and 27 hours a day.
And I'm there for every last second. Anytime I'm in a hotel room, which is a lot, every time, that's what I turn on, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
No, thank you. All right, let me clear out. Let these guys interview you for real. But
stay here. Stay here for a second. Hold on.
Okay. I liked it better when we couldn't find him.
Don't leave just yet. Continue here since you're so excited. I don't know if the rest of the crew will be as excited as you are. So if you have questions for James Murray from Impractical Jokers, have at it because they're in their 10th season. They're just announcing now that they moved from True TV to TBS, and they've got stops in 19 cities. They're a bit of pioneers, right, when it comes to doing daring things on television just to make your friends laugh.
Dan, this is what I would say. It's a prank show, but instead of pranking people, they prank themselves in front of other people, which to me is way more funny because pranking people is whatever. But when you are the object of the prank, either knowingly or unknowingly, my favorite one was when you guys had Homeland Security involved and everything about like the defacing of the statue. That's the peak because my man Sal was bricks. Like he literally thought like this was it. This is happening. The show's gonna get shut down and we're all gonna get arrested for this. But I wanted to ask you, Murr, what is the most uncomfortable thing for you guys to do? Because you guys have a lot of recurring bits, but I have an idea of what the most uncomfortable thing is.
I get the worst punishments on the show. Absolutely. I mean, what's the most uncomfortable things I've done? I've gotten my nipples pierced. I got thrown out of an airplane. I've gotten 4 prostate exams on live television at this point. I got a catheter put in My driver's license photo still has no eyebrows because of the TV show. I was forced to wear Q's just real hair for a year on television. It just goes on and on and on, man. Like, it's never ending. My body is not a wonderland. It's the guy's torture device.
Can we see your license again? I feel like you look like Austin Butler in Dune.
Oh, I see it.
Is it?
I think I look like Lex Luthor's penis.
Is it worth it?
I wouldn't know.
Is it worth it? Because you guys now have a national and international following and fame and economy on doing things that are hanging out with your friends and having fun, but you're also doing substantive damage to your body.
Yeah, is it worth it? Yeah, man, the check always clears, so it's definitely worth it.
Exactly. And by the way, this was a great segue to talk about my shame, because that's the spirit that I've been going with. You know what? Is it worth it to go super viral the way I have for this jump shot? Absolutely, because you know what? The check still clears. And ultimately, that's what people get mad about the worst. That's not how I usually shoot, Mur. That's not how I usually shoot, Mur. That's not how I usually
Mur
shoot.
says it's not worth it with you. I mean, Mur,
For
go
him
ahead.
it is.
James,
It's a
go ahead.
business.
Please, no, explain to us what just happened there, because that jump shot is so bad that you would not accept the shame of that, correct?
Terrible. The form was terrible. You use a total airball, but also on the TV show, I would take a shot like that because I'm being told to. You chose to shoot it that way. That's on you, bro. That's your talent level. Okay?
I didn't choose to shoot like that. There was a lot of factors going into it.
I gotta tell you, 3 weeks ago, I paid a surprise visit to a high school in West Virginia. The governor of West Virginia is a fan of the show, asked if I would come down. He's the coach of the team. None of the students of the school had any clue I was going to show up, right? So I walk into the gymnasium before their big game. The place goes crazy. There's 500 kids and parents in the auditorium, right? And so before the game starts, they throw me a ball. I was like, do you know the pressure of that moment of all these kids and their parents, 500 kids in this auditorium before their huge game to take a 3-point shot? And I flipping nailed it. Okay. That's how because I'm not on the show in that moment. I just got to look good. That was the worst shot I've ever seen.
Mur, I'm always on the show. That's how I live my life. Yeah. Every moment of my life. It's Truman Show for me. Every moment is the show.
I mean, stop turning this into a win. I mean,
it is a win. It is a win.
Zion.
This is my Zion moment.
You're coming after Zion. No, you're coming after Zion for being fat, and you've been criticizing Zion. You've been merciless on Zion. And
was I wrong?
But look at your form.
But wait, hold on. But was I wrong
about him being fat?
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
okay. He's okay. All right, that's it. You know, it's just like if he makes fun of my form. Is he wrong, or does that mean he's not fat anymore?
You don't get to be Mona Lisa for that jump shot. You're not making high art here.
Too late.
No.
Too late.
No.
Art Making Sports already did it. They already made me Mona Lisa, baby.
James, he's excited to see you, but can you explain to us why it is? You guys have an unusual connection with your audience, and it's at least in part because you're making people laugh on the road where they know where to find you, and it's consistently empty calories television that's very easy to watch.
I don't know if it's empty calories.
Calories?
You've seen us get fatter and bolder on TV over the past 14 years. We were clearly consuming too many calories at this point. Why does the show work? I think because we remind people of the jackasses they grew up with. You know what I mean? Like their best friends from their childhood. And it's kind of the show that everybody agrees on. Nobody's hurt in the making of our show except for us and our pride. And that's fun to watch. And and the live show is even better. It's like hanging out with your best friends on TV for a night. We are not handsome men, so I think we pose little threat to you or your families. So, you know that's a big.
But you're the evolution, are you not? You are the logical 2024 evolution of everything from Jackass to Candid Camera to why television became popular in the first place with prank shows, because everyone can laugh at prank shows.
I think everyone can, and it's fun for us because we're not actually doing it on other people. Other people are just there to witness our embarrassment, and that works. That formula works.
I have a question for Mur. Do you guys ever get embarrassed when you have to involve family members, your family members, in the pranks?
Dude, last season they used my wife against me. I came back to the house and they had my wife put a catheter in me, and then I had to ride a zip line holding my own catheter bag. That was 2 weeks before we got married. So that's not fun.
She still married you?
She did somehow. I don't know.
Who do you guys?
Certainly not because of my looks. I mean, look at me. I look like a pharmacist. I don't look famous.
Well, how does she feel? How does anyone in your family feel about the way that you sell your shame for profit?
As I mentioned, the check clears, so they feel fine.
My man.
Who do you view as your inspirations, like for what it is that you guys have created as a television show? Because this isn't dumb luck. It underestimates you to suggest that.
Yeah, it was a very calculated move over many years of hard work and TV development to come up with the idea from Impractical Joker to sell it. There is a lot of work behind it and a strategy. That being said, our inspirations comedically, I mean, we grew up while watching the Zucker Brothers, man. Airplane, Naked Gun, all those movies, Top Secret, and of course Mel Brooks. And one of my most prized possessions is right behind the camera. I have a signed script page from the original Airplane screenplay from 1979, which is awesome.
Who signed it?
Zucker.
Okay.
Zucker Brothers.
And don't call me Shirley.
You were very breathless there. I mean, you were really
that's exciting.
That's exciting. But you're really fanboying here. Like I can't remember. I don't know that I've ever seen you as excited to see someone as you were when Murr ended up right here in your face.
Well, first of all, you guys just kind of brushed me away. Hey, you got to go. There's a guest coming on. I was like, okay, what boring sports person are you talking to now? You're going to interview someone about NFL free agency. And then I saw Murr's face and I was like, is my TV taking over my Zoom screen right now? What's happening, man? Like I said, I watch these guys all the time and I love the content. But also, Airplane is one of my favorite movies. These people need to be taken to a hospital. A hospital, what is it? The big building where sick people go to get better. But that doesn't matter right now, right? That and what do they have to eat? The fish or the steak? It's like, yes, I had the lasagna. These are all of my favorite lines from one of my favorite movies. So this has all been an honor, but you know what? I feel like I have to step away. I'm overstepping my bounds right here. So
hey, can I give you guys a little sneak peek of what we're filming? I won't say when we're filming it, but just know it's during the NCAA tournament. One of us is getting punished and going to like a packed sports bar watching one of the Final Four games. And the punishment is very simple. All the guys got to do is keep changing the channel in the bar.
Oh, Murr, is this going
to be chaos?
Is it going to be in Phoenix? I live in Phoenix, and the Final Four is in Phoenix. If it's going to be here in Phoenix,
I can't tell you where the game is, what it is, where we'll be in disguise. But some jerk in the bar is going to keep changing every TV in the bar so nobody can watch the game, and it's going to be one of us.
The Impractical Jokers are going on a new drive tour. It has stops in 19 cities. Kicks off this weekend, March 23rd, Hollywood, Florida, down here. Tickets for all tour dates are on sale now at ImpracticalJokersLive.com, and you can check out all the tour dates for Impractical Jokers there. Tickets are on sale, as I said. ImpracticalJokersLive.com. Amin, thank you. Get out of here. Before you go here, though, James, I thought Letterman was an inspiration for some of what it is that you guys did in terms of feeding each other lines through the earpiece. I thought your comedic influence was a little later than the ones you're citing.
Oh, sure. I mean, come on. Letterman did it all the time, sending what's his name down to the deli downstairs. What's his name on the show?
Was it Rupert?
Yes, Rupert down to the deli right below the studio. I mean, that we used to watch that, 20 years ago. Of course.
You pulled that one out, man.
Well, no, because I love Letterman. And so these guys, look, everybody, I don't know. Look, I can talk to you about the skeleton of what you guys have built, but it's not just charisma. You guys have connected with your audience because you're summoning the comedic spirit of several decades of funny people on like what television was meant to be when it was silliest, when it was just like this thing that you can just turn on and it's just funny to watch because you don't have to think about anything else. You understand the escape and the addiction that you are for people like Amin, right?
I agree. I think you're dead on accurate. I think we remind people of the days when you come home from work and you just want to put on the TV and laugh for a half hour and not worry about any of the BS going on in the world. I think you're dead on accurate.
We will talk to you again, James. Look forward to seeing what you guys do in Hollywood. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
It's my favorite show to watch when I'm high.
Lucy, where you been, Lucy? Where you been?
I literally just spoke.
with a giant smile on his face. Stugotz saw this man appear in the Zoom with all of those newspaper clippings in the background from a different time, a different century, back when the Zags were nobodies, and he made an Elite Eight run. Stugotz just pointed at Dan Monson, just pointed at him and said, March, with a giant smile on his face.
Yeah.
And there is no bigger story in March than fired on Monday.
Crazy.
And makes the tournament run. And here he is back in the dance again. Dan, thank you for making the time for us. I saw you interviewed after the game, and you were just giving off so much gratitude because you're like, I got to steal money coaching basketball. Are you kidding me? I can't believe I get to still do this for a living. And your gratitude is endearing, but also they fired you on Monday, Dan, and it's insulting. That I can't even believe that 4 days later you're still coaching the team, and not only coaching the team, but Stugotz says you should be the coach at Duke now, that Long Beach State doesn't deserve you.
Well, every coach in the world would work for free in the NCAA tournament, but I'm the only one that's really going to do it. So I practice what I preach, I guess, because every coach – it's all our dreams. This is a week where everybody would not just do it for free, but we'd all pay to play in this tournament. And I'm just living in the moment, and that's what we tell our players to do. And that's what the key to success of a successful basketball team is to stay in the moment. And it's been a fun way to approach it. I do feel blessed to have 17 years at Long Beach State, and actually 37 years at 12 at Gonzaga, 8 at Minnesota, and in 17 here. 37 years in 3 spots in this business is crazy. So I have it pretty good.
Coach, what is your job status? Do you want your job back? Like, what's going on here? Because you have an incredible amount of leverage right now.
It's a great question.
Yeah. Do you really want that girl back that doesn't want you? I mean, once they break up with you and they can't find somebody else, or I don't really look at it that way, but. I think we said it was mutual, and to a degree it was. I was feeling at the end of the year that maybe this program needs a new voice, and I need a new challenge. So I agreed with it on Monday. However, I didn't agree with the timing of it. I said I was ready to resign if we didn't have a good tournament, but I couldn't resign on Monday because. That'd be quitting on my team, and if I teach these kids anything at all, we're fighting till the end, and that's what I'm so proud about them. They did, and they went from Monday on. They stayed in the moment and really just fought for each other. And I think we played together throughout the year, but this last week we played for each other, and it's just very gratifying to be a part of something that special of a run.
Juju, can you put on the poll, please? Can a breakup be totally mutual to a degree? To a degree, because I'm sorry, say that again?
Well, you tell the girl it's not your fault, it's mine.
But it doesn't sound like it was totally mutual, and it can either be either you were fired or it's to a degree it was mutual.
Sometimes things change. I mean, Monson, you have never looked sexier than you do right now.
Well, this is the thing. This is what Stugotz is saying right now. That Monson, you might have broken up, but he's good for a good romp in the bedroom every once in a while with the next partner.
It is a little strange, but breakups happen that way, and as you said, it's hard to know whose fault it was sometimes, but I'm at peace with where I'm at, and I'm going to enjoy the week. It was a little depressing this morning to wake up and be a 20-point underdog on your dreams.
Yes,
that's nothing to you because you were fired.
Yes, but you've come back from being fired. What's Arizona? What's a little 2-seed? What's the problem?
That's your next job.
Come on.
And Tommy owes me one because I hired him at Gonzaga before I left, and then Few calls me and says, "Who's this guy you left me with that you didn't tell me about? This grad guy that's hanging around here." And I'm telling him why he's here. So and he just signed a new contract, so he's good. But they let mine run clear to dry on April 30th.
Now we're talking. There's the bitterness I wanted.
Yeah, that's the girlfriend I want. Tommy needs to start dating me.
Okay, so it was a little. Wait a minute. Let's cut through some of the charming bullshit. We understand you're grateful for the job and 17 years under all circumstances. That's a successful relationship. That it ends is no insult to anybody, but you were fired on Monday, and I don't know if you thought your job merited firing or not. I don't know if you're not saying to them, well, wait a minute, with the resources that Long Beach State has, we're pretty competitive in a difficult time to be competitive. I don't know how much flex you want on your university here because you feel like you've been wrongly let go to a degree.
Some of that, all that, maybe part of it. Yeah, it's a tough relationship, you know. I mean, you want to still be friends, as they say. You know, we're still going to be really good friends when we break up, I guess, because I do have some great memories here. My 4 kids, grew up here. 17 years. One was a graduate assistant on the team. Another one was a sophomore on the team. I got a daughter that's at Gonzaga as a senior and on the crew team, and one a senior in high school. So, it's the memories are great, and I don't, I want to leave there with those memories and not the last week determining what my relationship with my gold girlfriend is.
Well put, all of it. So, but take us through the awkwardness and the emotion and the hurt, Dan, because you pour your life and your identity into these things. 20 years is not a small time, 17 years to build a program. You develop family. The relationships you have on campus around school are real. They are your life outside of it. So what was Monday like for you? How, did you see it coming? How cold did it feel? Did it hurt?
Well, I texted him after the game on the Saturday night, and I asked for the meeting, so I hung myself, I guess. But I said, hey, because my best player pulled his groin. We won in the preseason. I think we're the only team in the country to win 3 BCS true road games. We won at Michigan, we won at USC, and at DePaul. And we had a good preseason. We were 18-9 at one about 3 weeks ago, second in our league. But we lost the last five games with our leading scorer hurt, and so we're reeling a little bit. So yeah, and your contract's running out, and you have a new AD who's only been here about 4 months, and so you've been in the business long enough. You know that there's talk about that. So, I called the meeting, and I was going to, talk to him about resigning or at the end of after the tournament or whatever, and that kind of thing. But I was a little blindsided that they'd made that decision that day. So I went home and they had different, you can resign, you can be, retire, you can be fired, whatever you want. However, they didn't really care the terminology, but they were adamant that it had to happen Monday. And that was the only thing that to me was the timing of it, because I felt that, as a basketball coach, this is a week you work for all year. This is where you determine how your year is. The tournament is what at a mid-major you play for. So I was grateful that they were going to let me coach it, but I went home and talked to and told my family. And that was we'd been open about me retiring or resigning anyway, so that wasn't that hard, but it was difficult with the players, and that was probably the hardest and most gratifying thing, because with your players you don't know. It's like with your own kids, you think they love you, but they got to show you or tell you at some point, and because you're disciplining them, you're holding them accountable, you're pushing them. And to see that locker room and my son in that locker room was the hardest part, to watch my own son, who's on the team, go through it with his teammates. But the love was unconditional there. I mean, and they showed it the way they played this week. As I told them, as motivation, they didn't just give up on me. They gave up on you guys, because they didn't wait to see what you could do, and didn't think that you could, have success this week. And I think our players really felt that togetherness, that we had a cause to play for something besides ourselves. And in this day and age, if you can get a team to put all their own stuff aside, it can be pretty special, and that's what our week was.
They played for you, Coach. If they wanted you back, if the university wanted you back, would you say yes, and would you ask for double?
I would only say yes if all the players would come back, and I think that's, in this day and age, that's not gonna, I mean it's been done, it's in the fact that they've made it clear that they need they want to go in a new direction. It's a new athletic director, and I support that. I mean, they gave me 17 years, and if they want a new direction, they deserve to have that. So that's their decision. If that came to
it seems like you don't support it. It seems like this guy got here 3 or 4 months ago, doesn't know what he's doing. You've been here 17 years. He doesn't respect what you built. And bleep off, new hot shot. I've been winning around here for 17 years.
And we're dancing.
You got here 3-4 months ago. Now you want to dance with me? You're not even paying me. You fired me on Monday.
Well, you guys are asking me if I'd take a job back when I got a hefty house payment, and I've got bills to pay, and I don't have a job. When I lose my. So it's hard to say no. I wouldn't take a job. I mean, I still feel I want to coach. I love to compete. I love, when you get to be 60 years old and you get to hang out with 18-year-old kids, it rejuvenates you every day. So I love my job. I love what I do. So I want to coach somewhere next year. I do know that.
Dan, thank you. It's a charming story.
I want this man to make a deep run into the
tournament. Yes, of course. And don't be surprised if Dan Munson makes it to the Sweet 16. He's only a 20-point underdog in Game 1 against an overwhelming Arizona team.
But I got trash on Tommy Lloyd. I feel like I can bribe my way, into the second round.
Okay, a great aggregated accusation. Munson. Yes, coach retaliates for firing by bribing his next opponent.
That's my guy.
Thank you, Dan. Excellent work.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Chris Cody, in part of what it is that you're doing around here, because you and Billy are getting buried with March Sadness, with just things that have to be done around here, I want you to create a tomorrow file, a file of things that we will get to tomorrow. For example, Bruno Mars reportedly owing the MGM Grand $50 million in gambling losses. I don't know how that information travels, how accurate the reports are, but all weekend, because Bruno Mars is making about $90 million to do a residency in Las Vegas, it would be very easy for someone to end up in those casino rooms and lose a lot of money quickly, and then a casino owns you. I want to get to that tomorrow, hopefully with a guest that can sort of explain what happened there. Also tomorrow, Mike Vrabel couldn't get a job, so now he's just consulting for the Browns, coaching and personnel. Mike Vrabel, all of us agreed before this offseason started, whoa, he got fired, he's pretty good. Tennessee, they overachieved every year. Couldn't get a job. Him and Belichick out of work, so now he has to take some sort of ancillary job to remain in football because all of the young whiz kids are coming for all the jobs.
And Stefanski is the one that hired him. I have top 5 people this NFL season that cannot look over their shoulder tomorrow.
All right, put it tomorrow. We've got weekend observations tomorrow. We didn't do enough with Sammy Sosa today. He's had several years, decades, to respond to this question. When you say mistake, you made a mistake, Sammy. What do you mean by mistake? Do you mean that maybe you did steroids?
Is it time for you and Tom Ricketts to sit down to get back into their good graces?
Well, like I say, I'm a mature man. I think that it's a possibility that we can do that. I'm open. I don't have a problem with that. I have, like I said, I have a lot of misunderstanding in the past, but now I'm a real man. I feel great, so I recognize my mistake. So hey, why not?
Are you telling me that you recognize the fact that maybe you did do steroids?
This is like I say, this is not a question that I expected from you.
So good. Terrible.
Good answer,
Maybe you did.
That laugh, and it's just and he asked it so gently. Maybe you did do steroids.
Like I say, not a question that I expected from you.
Can you guys put up on the screen, please, the AD who stole this lovable, charming Dan Monson's job? Look at this, Bobby Smitherin. He looks exactly like you'd expect him to look. Look at his
face.
Look at his business card. Old, bald Bobby Smitherin coming in here, taking Dan Monson's job. Whippersnapper.
Monson had the last laugh, though, Dan.
The other story this weekend, Stugotz, in college basketball, I don't know if you guys saw this because contractually this was funny. Kevin Keatts at NC State, they evidently won 5 more games wherever it is that the Wizards play their home games than the Wizards have this month. NC State blows through the ACC tournament somehow, and their coach, Stugotz, now is guaranteed by contract. He was about to be fired. A 2-year extension that guarantees him a $400,000 raise and is several millions of dollars. They were about to fire him, and he wins 5 games in 5 days.
Yep, and listen, they're a threat to go to the Elite Eight, perhaps the Final Four. They're a really good team.
No,
someone said that back in January.
No, they are not. They are not a good team. You did say that back in January, though.
Dan. Keep an eye on NC State. Good coaching. Great senior guard play.
Hey.
Don't be surprised if come March, the Wolfpack find themselves in the Elite Eight.
It's early for the Wolfpack.
They're good. Mike knows.
Damn good.
Yep.
Confirmed by Mike.
They're not.
Mike also said Miami was
They're
good.
not good.
I love a good confirmation.
They were not any good. We also have a update that put it in the tomorrow file. The Oktoberfest toe.
Oh.
Chris Cody says he's got an update on the Oktoberfest toe. Lucy, you were disgusted by this.
I'm just happy you guys are talking about feet when I'm not going to be here. I'm really tired of the whole foot thing.
Oh, I have to wait for tomorrow to talk about that?
You want to do it now? You want to do it?
There's a lot of context here, actually, so let's save it for tomorrow.
All right.
Thank God.
Let's update our March Sadness tournament, Billy.
Today or tomorrow? Because we're doing the tomorrow folder.
Today.
For the tomorrow
Today.
folder, Dan, you didn't even mention this. We got a pop-off tomorrow, right? Is that what it's called? I don't remember the official name.
I thought we were going with the corn test.
It's corn test.
Corn test. That's what I meant.
Stugotz will be judging it, along with, I have to figure out, because you didn't try Dan's popcorn. Dan made popcorn during our Oscar party.
All right.
My dad thinks he can cook anything, so we're going to have tomorrow Dan versus my dad's popcorn.
Wow.
And we're going to have 3 people who haven't tasted any of the popcorn judge it. Stugotz, you're one of them.
Okay.
But I'm excited about this.
Corn and feet.
My dad 0 for 1 in cook-offs.
Cool.
Right.
Because him and Roy turked off, and that didn't work out well for
Okay.
my dad.
So now a pop-off.
Torquing it.
I can be bought, Dan.
Can I get a couple more of the songs from the tournament, please, in the songs category? It's only one of the brackets.
Well, I was going to show you the other regions, Dan, if that's okay, because that's kind of what you planned it with the sound people to not mess
So
it up.
songs tomorrow.
This is what I'm thinking. Tomorrow. Now, let's move over to the Greg Cody region. I was going to give you the number 1, but I think Greg should be here for the number 1. So let's go to the number 5 in the Greg Cody region.
God, the Heat were your boys last night. That's my limited fake Zaslow. I'm a 3-time Heat championship broadcaster. Awesome. Bad news for the Warriors. Okay. What does Zaslow say about me?
That he would sit here in the other building and just doesn't know anything about how to do rate. I used to take it. It was an Now, look, I was younger, okay? I've come a long way. But it used to be an insult to me that you're in there and you don't know how to do anything. And it would bother me.
I just laugh at it. I mean, how can you not
Like
just
the
laugh at it?
microphone's not on. He's talking. He doesn't realize that we're on the air. You got the hard outs. It's like he's coughing into the microphone.
But you've got a rebuttal, certainly.
Well, first,
This is the new and unimproved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.
Billy, what is that category? What is this? It's just Greg Cody doing like fake Zaslow? What's the category?
Well, that clip was supposed to be
boys
him.
last night. That's my limited fake Zaslow.
That clip was supposed to be him calling Zaslow saying "nice hat, asshole." That was that. It's
So
a
that's
Greg Cody
not the
thing.
right
Yeah.
clip.
No,
They're
that
playing the
didn't-
wrong
that
clip.
didn't- we'll have
Okay.
the right clip
Excellent.
tomorrow.
Okay,
Yeah.
tomorrow maybe.
Tomorrow
All
for the
right.
tomorrow
Billy,
file.
just put it away. Yeah, yes, thank
Okay.
you. I don't want any more from your tournament. Just
I
keep
want
it.
the region
Just
of
keep
death.
it to yourself. Lucy, Jessica, give me as much as you possibly can in 90 seconds that Billy has hogged and ruined on what you thought of all of yesterday's madness.
Awesome. I can totally give you 60 seconds on all of March Madness. One thing I do think about this year's tournament, Lucy, because you're not the only Iowa fan who's upset about the draw. All of the brackets are hard. There's a lot of good teams. There were probably like 10 teams that I would have told you before the seeding, like I'd put these in my Final Four. And yes, 3 of them are in Iowa's bracket, UCLA, LSU, and Iowa. But I'm still not sure. Like I've already done the thing where I've made my bracket and been like, I hate this. I hate this bracket. This bracket sucks. I hate my Final Four. I have South Carolina winning. But there's just too many good teams this year.
My issue isn't that Iowa has a tough region. It's that Iowa was the 2nd overall seed. And with that, you earn the 2nd easiest region. Like, that is the way it goes. South Carolina earned the easiest region. Iowa should have been in a region more like USC's, which I think is significantly easier than Iowa. Iowa's region also has a lot of teams that Iowa has played already this season or played postseason last year. Justice for my girl.
I'm with you on that. I mean, Notre Dame also kind of got screwed by being the worst of the 2 seeds, but that's all I got because we're out of time.
The rest tomorrow.
I won't be here.
Stugotz, over the course of the playoffs coming up here, we're going to merge our world some with all the smoke to cover basketball. And Amin is going to be appearing on a variety of different shows, but one of them is Bully Ball with Boogie Cousins and Rachel Nichols. And we got to him finally. We found him. How evasive. Chris, how annoying has this been today? Because it's been difficult to locate Amin to get him to answer some questions about his international shame.
We've had our whole team on it. I've been texting with him, people in the back, and we finally, as post-game here, we got him. He tried to evade us.
Ramadan.
Okay, yes. Unbelievable series of excuses. Amin, explain yourself. Jessica, you said it was a circle change-up. The internet is mocking you for your follow-through, for your form, not just the air ball. What is your excuse?
Well, first of all, not evasive at all. If you look at my Twitter timeline, I have been very welcoming for all and any ridicule and shame for what was a terrible-looking shot. The only thing I'll say is that's not how I shoot, and you don't have to take my word for it. Just talk to anybody who's hooped with me, and that includes NBA players, NBA coaches, NBA media people, music executives, platinum recording artists, you name it.
But it's how you
That's
shot.
right.
Like we saw it. We watched it.
Yeah,
Like,
that was one that got away from me. I don't know what to tell you. Right. That's not how I. And by the way, I'm not talking about like, oh, I'm usually Klay Thompson. I'm just saying, like, that's not how I shoot. Like, my form does not look like that.
But we all saw it. That was your form. The only time.
That was my form.
That
was my form on that shot.
Right.
On that shot, that was my form.
But that's
not my form.
But that's the only access we have to
His knuckleball's different.
any of your work in this realm. Like, there are people really undermining your future credibility, saying this will end his career. His analysis stinks. No one will take him seriously after this.
Let me say this. The only people saying stuff like that are the people who didn't agree with something I said to begin with. There's nobody who was like, man, I used to really enjoy his analysis, but now having seen this, everyone who's saying all that stuff are people who already disagree with me because I said something about their favorite player, or I said something about their favorite team, or I said something about their city, or I said something. It was something else. So I'm not worried about this. I know the quality of my work. I also know that that's not my form. So I don't have any worries about credibility or career or whatever.
We saw your form.
Not my form.
Zion Williamson.
Not my form.
It is, but it's in the corner of the screen, and that's your form.
Dan, let me ask you a question. Remember when JaVale McGee had that wild-ass rolling hook shot that went to nowhere and then ran back down court even though his team had possession? Is that JaVale McGee? Or was that just JaVale McGee in a really bad moment right there? I would say the latter, and that's where I'm at. You know what I am? I'm a victim of the we done with the 90s thing. You guys seen this? It's trending on Twitter.
No, you can't be using this as an excuse.
Absolutely.
You cannot
done with the 90s.
You cannot be doing this.
You cherry pick the one thing that I did that looked terrible. Say that's how they played.
You think
done with the 90s?
You think you're getting drugged by the internet because it's fashionable to make fun of back when you were in your prime at basketball in the 90s?
It's analogous, Dan. Follow along. It's fashionable to make fun of the guy who has made a career of making fun of people. That's why I'm not fighting it. It's like, yo, these are funny. 90% of the jokes are hilarious.
What do you have? How many do you have in front of you? How many do you have?
I was told that you guys would have some ready, but I guess I can pull some right here.
It really sounds like you're laughing along.
Can you read some of the funniest criticism that you have gotten this weekend because you are getting drugged by the entirety of the internet?
Let me just say the highest honor that I've gotten was, the Art But Make It Sports account, where they'll take moments and then they'll find a painting from classical Renaissance art that mimics that moment.
Yeah.
And they've done it for some of the great moments in sports history that have happened over the last year and a half. It's one of my favorite accounts. They did one for me. And as far as I'm concerned, this is like getting roasted by Don Rickles.
It's
like,
the highest
damn.
honor. It's the highest honor.
Highest honor.
So now you're claiming that this is art, what you made with this jump shot. You're now claiming it's an honor and it's art. Just to be clear.
I'm saying that they made art out of it. But yes, it is an honor to be roasted by that account, because that account roasts like great athletes. I've never seen them do random people playing pickup or whatever. So
but it's because
the fact that I'm
just let's put on the screen
it's
right
Amin
here.
and JaVale McGee.
It is, but I want you to again see the gnarly demon fingers of dislocation that represent the Amin El-Hassan jump shot.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. I got some in front of me right here. All right. No J Mayo.
Pretty good.
Looking.
That's good. That's good.
Michael Adult Gilchrist. Craig Bodges. Let's see here. Scroll down.
Ginobili.
Yeah, Ginobili.
Cheryl Oops.
Cheryl Oops. Looks like, by the way, Cheryl Oops is from Miles, who took the video, which is
Shout out
hilarious.
to Miles.
Because Miles Elric told me the reason he pulled his phone out to record to begin with was because I'd made like 3 or 4 in a row from that spot. So he's like, oh, this is cool. And then the first one he captures is with me missing like that. And he's like, this is better. This is way better.
What are the chances that he caught the one that's not your shooting form?
I know. What are the odds, right? All right. Let's see here. I got a couple more here that are pretty good. Stale Ellis, Mahmoud Abdul Rauf, BJ Armstrong. Let's see. Spaz Reed, Cry Lawson,
Gordon Wayward.
They're all terrible.
Larry Turd,
Stiff Curry. That's from John Hollinger. Dan Gnarly.
All right.
Marcus Cantby.
All right.
Cedric Herbalos.
Okay. Just
James
terrible.
Unworthy.
Please, this is
Tony
all.
Parker.
All right.
Game
More
James.
of this
Dan
with
Brickow.
Boogie Cousins and Rachel
Dr.
Nichols
No
on
J.
Bully Ball. More
Jeff
of this.
Dr. No J.
Jeff Hornish shit. They keep getting
That was so
Failing
good.
Brunson.
They keep getting lazier and lazier. Jeff Hornish
Josh
shit.
Onoji. Tim Drunken. Trey Young.
I love a lot of things about Selection Sunday. One, I get very emotional when I get to see like the small schools get to go to the tournament for the first time ever. Like that, it will literally make me cry. It's the women make me cry more than the men do. I don't really cry when I see the men get to go to the tournament for the first time. It's
What are you doing there? I mean,
I'm just watching them. I watch the men's tournament for the funny moments,
Right.
or the selection show where, like yesterday, Iowa State, they had just gotten announced as the 2 seed, and they were seated way lower than they should have been. And they'll keep the view of them on the screen as they're talking about them. So them in the room. So they're celebrating because they got their announcement. And then Clark Kellogg is like, their schedule was so bad. They did terrible. And it's just them shitting on the team with them on the camera there. So they're like celebrating, but you can see the players be like, what is he saying about us? And I freaking love it. I think it's so funny. They had another moment where they were showing Drake on the screen and the camera just gave out. It just went to all the bars.
It is funny. I was noticing when they announced Green Bay, Lucy, the internet service,
Terrible.
whatever, it was so bad. It was so bad and
Classic
so
Green Bay.
fuzzy. They were so hit or miss, I feel like, for the women's selection show. Some of them would be like the most excited people you've ever seen in your life, and like Crystal crystal clear 4K, and then some of them were just like fuzzy, or they cut away before they reacted to it, because I think there was like a little bit of a lag for some of them. And so they're like, they're not reacting. Back to the studio.
Yeah,
very awkward.
The whole women's show was just, and I love Elle Duncan, but it was Elle Duncan being like, they don't seem excited at all. And it was like, girl, they're like 10 seconds behind you. They don't see it yet. And then she'd like cut away, and then they'd start celebrating. She'd be like, oh my God, it's like they heard me. And it was like, girl, dude, the video is not going to be exactly on time. And it was so funny. And they had another moment where Holly Rowe interviewed the head of the women's selection committee, who I'm beefing with right now. And it was like pitch black. You couldn't see anything. The lighting was so terrible.
It was terrible. I noticed that too.
It was just a weird show, but I enjoyed it.
Besides what you said on today's show, how are you escalating this beef with the head of the committee? Are you doing anything? Do we have a plan for this, or?
No, I can't think that far ahead.
You're just saying that
I'm just have beef. Sometimes you can just have beef with people, and I think with time, I'll get over it.
No.
Well, it depends on how the season ends.
Lucy, they're going to put this on a billboard in Cleveland or something. This is how the show works. You can never just have beef. There has to be an escalation of the beef. There has to be like something that will either embarrass you or harm future job prospects for the show to be operating correctly.
I feel like working here just harms future job prospects, and I kind of knew that risk signing on, so I'm not worried about that one. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll write her a letter or something. I'm not quite hateful.
A letter?
I'm angry, but I think in a few days, when I didn't sleep well last night, I was thinking about the brackets, I'm a little cranky.
I think a letter will do it.
I think a letter will be fine, and it's not even going to be a mean letter. It's going to be like, hey girl, I really don't think that was cool. And I forgive you because I'm a girl's girl, and I respect you. You're a woman in a powerful position.
Yes.
Hell yeah, sister. But don't do that shit with Iowa again, please.
But you don't think it's cool because they gave the best player in college basketball the hardest draw to the Final Four.
And I said, I'm going to tell her, I don't think it was cool, but I respect you as a woman, and I respect you in your position of power. Hell yeah, women in sports forever. But girl, that was not your best move.
Do you guys think Clark Kellogg is pissed at someone at CBS? Like, do you think they intended for Kellogg to still be rolling while Iowa State was listening to that rant?
It was like casual enough where like he wasn't like they suck, because Iowa State's a very good team, but he was just like, yep, they earned this spot because they didn't play anybody in the non-conference, and it was just kind of like, oh, okay, cool. Like you gotta cut that.
Clark Kellogg named that connotes an ice cream topping.
Ooh.
And a cereal.
Well, yeah.